It's thebarlive.com, PMS, the Pugs Moran Show for a Friday afternoon, a sunny swinging Friday afternoon here in beautiful North Dallas, Texas. I'm Pugs Moran, as I said a couple of seconds ago. Also with me today, as always, Jimmy Ryan. Hi, Jimmy. How are you?
Doing great, man. How about you?
I'm good. I like, here's the thing. I don't like the camera. I hate the camera. I am not a fan of the camera. In fact, I would like to try and maybe do the show over here and just let you see nothing. Maybe we'll put the camera on the creepy guy in the corner there.
There we go.
That's what we could do.
Yeah.
Look, I'll get used to the camera. All right. But I'm gonna bitch and moan about it until one day I don't bitch and moan about it, and that means that I'm used to it.
You know, something that I have picked up on that you do, if you get into like one of those moments where you're doing a bit of a rant, you will make eye contact with the camera, though. Like, I've noticed this.
Play to the TV. Are you kidding me?
I like it.
I was at broadcast journalism.
Yeah.
Before I recognized how ugly I was, who knows? Maybe I thought I could be on TV. I don't know.
Well,
Radio was my thing, though.
You got the eye contact down.
Yeah, I sure do. All right. I love what you're doing, though. I like the split screen. I do.
Yeah.
It's cool.
I think it's a little bit better. Keeps people that are a little bit more ADD into it, you know? Maybe a little bit of flipping action to keep them in there. So
we got a lot of stuff to get to today, so let's get right to it. Let's start out the show with three things. These are three things that I want to talk about right off the top of the bat. The three biggest things I think that are going on today in the world. And, boy, if you watch CNN, apparently this is the biggest thing in the world. I guess they canceled the NATO summit in Chicago because CNN is going wire to wire with Facebook talk. Facebook's IPO, of course, went on the market today. Mark Zuckerberg rang the bell. Did you see that? Oh, that guy. How do you feel about Mark Zuckerberg?
I think that he's a very good example of what happens when you take anybody who normally would not have power and give them tons of it. You know, that's Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, like the guy was a total nerd. He's the first one to admit that.
So we can expect him to buy a Batman car and beat up his girlfriend soon? Is that what you're saying?
I think that may be in the tabloids pretty soon.
Someone has unchecked power, they just,
yeah.
Okay.
So that could happen. You know, but when it comes to Facebook, I think that they were smart to start it out where they did. I think that they started out at 38, didn't they?
Yeah, it was. Now I left the TV probably about an hour ago, and it was static at 38. And the concern was that it was going to drop. As people who got in initially, like minutes early, were going to pull out. For instance, Bono. Bono is believed to be pulling out his initial investment in Facebook. And what that's worth now? $1 billion, they say.
Wow.
Bono, who, you know, that's $1 billion. I do not believe Bono had $1 billion. I mean, the biggest rock star in the world is not a billionaire.
No. You think Gene Simmons is even?
No. Gene Simmons probably is worth $150 million, something like that. Not $1 billion.
Yeah.
I mean, $1 billion is the people who own the record company or the record label who's got 50 platinum selling bands that he's collecting money from. You know,
right.
Guys in bands. I mean, like a guy like Elton John. Here we go. All right, what's that website? Why don't we do this? There's that website. What are they worth? This would be interesting. Let's see exactly. Hold on, I'll pull this up.
I am always kind of curious to find out what the full worth is. Now, would this be everything involved, like their home, like all their assets?
I don't know. It's a website.
Oh, okay.
We're just gonna trust it because it's on the internet.
I always just assume that everything on the internet is something that's like, you know, verified. All the homework's been done for me.
Well, right. Well, because we're lazy. You're exactly. Do you remember the time? Oh man, hold on. Now I don't know why my computer does this. Do you remember back when anything that was on the internet meant it was absolutely untrue?
Yes.
I mean, that was it. Oh, you got it from the internet, did you? Boy, has that changed.
I know. I remember because the internet was just starting to kind of gain traction when I got into high school. And like when we would have to do reports or anything like that, it was the weirdest thing. Because I was a little bit further ahead whenever it came to internet. Like I had a house or a computer in my house since I was born. So, you know, I was a little bit further along, and I felt like those were really verifiable sources. But we were not allowed to use any of those during a report, anything from the internet, as a source.
Yeah, but it was my host, like in the late 90s, if we got anything off the internet or we heard it on the internet, that was the way to sort of diminish it. You know, to say that, oh, where'd you get that? I got it from the internet. Oh, come on! Oh, you know what changed that?
What's
we
that?
talked about this yesterday. Drudge Report. Monica Lewinsky, that story changed it. Because when that story originally broke online, it was completely marginalized. It was considered a fabrication. It was considered something that was just internet gossip and all that. And then suddenly the major news agencies started to look at it and they went, hey, wait a second, this is kind of true. It was also the case before the internet. We also saw that with the National Enquirer. Everything was, oh, where'd you get that, from the Enquirer? And then after the O.J. Simpson situation, the National Enquirer, who was the lead investigator on that, who got everything that all the other regular news agencies started to report and run with, it was the Enquirer. So you couldn't say that. And it was about a 5-year period between that moment in the Enquirer in the early 90s and when the internet really took off, where you couldn't really marginalize the Enquirer anymore because they had been nailing real stories.
Yeah. I wonder if there was ever like a night where Bill Clinton, after the story came out, Bill Clinton asked Al to come into the office, and he's like, did you really have to go and create the internet? Did you really have to do that?
Hold on a second, Jimmy. Well, go ahead. You talk. Go ahead. I can't find this website. I don't know what this website is called. I thought it was called What Are They Worth, but it's not there. I used to use it all the time.
If it's not whataretheworth.com, I need to register a domain real quick. See if I can't do that.
Okay, here. I want to try. We'll try this one, okay? Because this is the guy. You could do a Beatle if you wanted, and you could find out. Because if you want to talk about who is probably the wealthiest rock star, I would immediately go to 3 people, okay? Paul McCartney. I would like to see what he's worth.
Okay.
Just because of the body of work, and they make the money long after the song is released. They make the money in how well the songs hold up historically. And Beatles songs still get played everywhere. So the Beatles have been raking in money since they broke up in 1970.
Oh, just as recently as the Beatles rock band thing that they did.
Right.
That was massive.
Oh, yeah. So I would think that if we're talking about a rock star, who's the wealthiest rock star, it would come down for me to 3 people, 4 people really. It would come down to Paul McCartney. It would come down to Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, see what they're worth. And the other guy is Elton John. Now, we were talking about this because Facebook has gone on the market today. The IPO was offered this morning, and they say that Bono, who was an early investor in Facebook, will make $1 billion off of his initial stake in Facebook. And that got us thinking, would that make him the wealthiest rock star of all time? Elton John is the other one that should have. They always talk about how he is just rolling in money, not only because of he writes the songs and he's written for other people and he's done movies and he's Broadway plays and plus he's had this career of 40 years now.
Yeah.
So just to put it into perspective, Elton John, who is considered one of the wealthiest rock stars going, is only worth $309 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Let me try Paul McCartney, because this could be shocking. Because remember now, Bono reportedly will make $1 billion today. All right, Paul McCartney. You want to take a guess at what Paul McCartney's worth?
Paul McCartney. Now he has to be worth at least half a million or $500 million.
This is kind of tricky for me because Paul McCartney, his number is listed in pounds.
Okay.
So he is over $1 billion. Paul McCartney is worth over. Paul McCartney is worth 750 million pounds.
Wow.
So if we turn that over into dollars, that's over $1 billion.
Yeah, healthily
over $1 billion. All right, so Paul McCartney, the Beatle, I think he is. Oh, and I found the website. The website is celebritynetworth.com.
Okay.
Not what are they worth. That's much more. All right, who do you want to know? Who should we look at? Oh, Bono. Let's see Bono, okay? Because Bono today has supposedly going to get a windfall of $1 billion. So let's find out what Bono is actually worth.
And this is all, like, I have to say, like, Bono, this is like the smartest thing that he's probably ever done, getting out of this quick, because from the very beginning, I think that they were originally wanting to do this at almost like $80 as the IPO, and that I definitely would have been short selling if I had the money to put in there initially,
right?
Because that thing's gonna go down. But even at 38, I see this thing going down before it goes up. You know,
Bono last night, if we judge this celebrity net worth, because again, he hasn't cashed out yet. He hasn't made that new billion today. Bono last night, and this is surprising, is worth $900 million. And
wow.
that's not pounds, that's millions. So Paul McCartney still is worth more. But Bono is worth $900 million last night. And today, if he wants, he could be worth $1.9 billion.
Wow.
He has doubled his net worth.
That's insane.
With one little investment 10 years ago in this or 5 years ago or whatever it was in this little thing called Facebook.
Wow. That's like, what's his name with Travelocity? Like, apparently, Jesus, what's his name? He's incredible.
Oh, William Shatner. Yeah, William Shatner made a crap load. All right, just for put it all into perspective, let's see what Oprah Winfrey is worth.
But did you actually hear that William Shatner, he was doing some interview. I forget which one it was, but he said that...
He didn't get paid for those, right? He got paid in stock.
Well, yeah, he got paid in stock, but the way that it turned out, he said that he had doubled his entire working career's pay with Travelocity. Nice. Because he was able to just cash that out and got tons.
And you know, it works on multiple levels for Shat because, one, those are entertaining commercials. And they make him an entertaining and viable character. And he's, you know, it's just good all around. A new generation of people know him from these commercials, and they like him because he's got this kind of silly, wacky, zany kind of side. And he's just a crap load of money. And I bet he gets plane tickets anytime he wants. You know?
Yeah, it's a win all around.
He's hooked up, totally. All right, Bono's net worth was $900 million. Let's find out. Oprah is the one that they always... Oprah is supposedly the wealthiest person in entertainment. Now, that's movies, that's music, that's everything. So we've already established that Paul McCartney, the former Beatle, is over $1 billion. Bono is at $900 million today with the possibility of making another $1 billion off this Facebook stock. So let's find out what Oprah Winfrey is worth.
Now, is this really something that we can put down, like nail down as a legitimate number? Because I think that she's powerful enough that she can change exchange rates, you know, and just be like, no, our money's not worth as much, or, oh, what is it?
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Ooh. Oprah Winfrey is a media mogul with a net worth of $2.7 billion.
Wow.
What's Mark Cuban worth? Now I want to know. Now I want to know where she stacks up to the other people.
2.7.
Yeah, 2.7. Mark Cuban is worth, okay, so Oprah's worth 2.7. Paul McCartney's worth about 1.5 billion. Bono, if he cashes out his Facebook stock today, is worth 1.9 billion. Mark Cuban's net worth is, drum roll please. Who do you think has more money, Oprah Winfrey or Mark Cuban?
I would think Oprah.
Oprah has more money than Mark Cuban.
Yeah.
I always think Mark Cuban is like this crazy billionaire, one of the wealthiest people in the world. He's not. He's not one of the wealthiest. He's a billionaire. He's got 2.5 billion.
Okay.
All right. So there you go.
Nothing to laugh at, I suppose.
No.
If I go over to his house party, I'm not going to be judging him.
You know what I like to do, though? Do you watch Shark Tank?
No, I've heard a lot about it, though.
But you watch Dragon's Den, right? You've seen that?
Yeah, I've seen that a few times.
I want to know. I'm going to do this later today. I won't bore you with this on the air, but I'm going to find out just from my own personal information. I want to know who the wealthiest shark is in the Shark Tank. Because Cuban's at $2.5 billion. Mm-hmm. And then the other people I don't know. They're not as high profile. But quite honestly, if Mark Cuban didn't own the Mavericks, most people wouldn't know him either. He's just a billionaire.
You know what I just realized, and this I apologize, this is totally off topic, but have you heard about this this planetary resources group that's gotten together and they're going to go mine asteroids?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and who's involved in this? Some celebrities are involved, or some well-known. George Lucas. George Lucas is one of the investors.
James Cameron, I think, is one of them.
Yeah. That's it. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I knew it was a director of some sci-fi. Yeah, it's James Cameron.
And two of the guys from Google, the two original guys from Google.
Sergey and whoever. Ivan, the Russian-sounding guys or whatever they are.
So yeah, they're putting this whole thing together, and I just realized, why isn't there a reality show for this? These guys having to work. Maybe it would just have awful ratings.
They don't need it.
No,
they don't need the invasion
because they need the attention. They're already dwindling away. Nobody's paying attention to them anymore, and they're talking about something literally epic. This is something huge. And nobody's even paying attention anymore. There was one day that they got a little bit of attention.
Gotta turn my mic on. It's funny that you mentioned that because not only is nobody paying attention to that, but as a space dork that I am, there's something that's happening today that nobody is talking about. It's scrolling on CNN, but there's no story because we're covering the Facebook IPO. The first commercially built spaceship is going to be launched today. NASA ain't involved. So a bunch of dudes in their garage build a spaceship, and they're going to link up with the space station, with the internet. So this is an incredibly important day for the future of space exploration. It is the first time that somebody, a private industry, has said, you know what? We can do what NASA is doing without taxpayer dollars for a lot cheaper, and it can probably be a lot better because we don't have all of this bureaucracy and all of this crap. And they're doing that today, and they're going to launch this rocket, and they're going to hook up with the space. God, I hope nothing goes wrong, because I really want commercial space travel.
Yeah.
I would like, my goal in life is that before I check out, I want to go to space.
Yeah. Not a small thing to ask. I just want to go to space.
Sure, I could have paid more attention in trigonometry and all of that and gone the appropriate way through astronaut training and all that. But no, I didn't want that. I was holding out hope that someday there would be commercial space travel. And at my age now, if they perfect it in 20 years, I mean, this could be a vacation. And this is what they're talking about doing. People going to a place, and they get on a ship and they go up and they orbit the Earth a couple of times and they come down. No big deal. I'd love that.
Especially if we can get the space elevator going. I mean, that's
What's that?
That's something that, again, like Eric Schmidt and a couple of the guys from Google are working on. And it's been something that they've kind of theorized for a really long time. But it's essentially an elevator that goes right into space, and then you go to the very tip of that, and that's where you meet your next jet or things going to take you around in orbit.
Wait, so you're talking about so it would be like the world's tallest structure?
No, it's basically made by carbon fiber. So like it just goes straight into the air and holds it into place as the Earth is orbiting, but it's always going straight up. And that's the cheapest way to send people into space without having
no idea what you're talking about, but it sounds really cool.
Yeah, I mean, it just sounds like that's the way that the future is going to be, is that each city has its own little space elevator. You can meet.
I'm not holding out hope for that. It'll happen not in my lifetime, though.
Yeah.
If it happens, but I do want to, Virgin Atlantic, Richard Branson is really big on the space travel and the commercial space travel, and I think he was involved in the Spaceship One, I think, was that the project that they did where they awarded like $100 million or something to the first person. I don't know if this private contract company is involved in that competition, but whoever's going up today is going to be the first commercially built space. Are there astronauts? See, I can't even get the full story because Facebook offered their IPO today.
Right, and that's all that's happening today.
All that's happening. Yeah. Also, the other thing scrolling.
I'm sure people in Africa are rejoicing over Facebook's IPO today.
Right. Meanwhile, we've got Navy and Air Force jets streaking across Chicago today. We've got the entire downtown area being blocked off. My mom was telling me last night. I was talking to my mom. My mom works for the state police in Illinois, in the Chicago area. And okay, so this is thing two. The summit and all that stuff going on in Chicago is starting today. She was telling me last night, because she works for the state police, how freaked out some people are about what is going to happen in the city of Chicago this weekend.
Rightfully so.
And she got me thinking about it. It's not so much that there's going to be demonstrations and there's going to be all kinds of, craziness like that going on. The world is coming to Chicago to protest all of these wars and the economic problems and NATO's role and all of that stuff. But here's the problem. They don't have enough police. They don't have enough state and local Chicago police to actually do the day in and day out job of police work, because all of the cops are working 12-hour shifts, 12 hours on, 12 hours off. It's like fireman shifts where they're working special shifts so that they can have manpower when they need it. But every available cop is downtown. So that means there are going to be no cops in the gang-infested South Side areas. Jeez. And they're worried that it's going to explode this weekend. Robberies, gang fights, all of this stuff. And there are going to be no police in that area to respond in an appropriate time.
Sometimes these situations really just do turn into a perfect storm of settings where it really is just, if I were to live in Chicago, I would be getting out of the urban area for a little while.
Well, she was telling me all kinds of restrictions, like commuters. Chicago is a huge commuter city. Everybody takes the train to work. Nobody can bring coffee on the train today. No liquids, no containers, it's like getting on an airplane. It's as if getting into downtown Chicago today is like getting on an airplane at the airport. Everybody's being frisked. Cars are stopping people as they come through the expressway, checking cars, sweeping under cars. It is a mess. They were advising people that if they usually have a 1-hour commute, to expect a 3 to 4 hour commute.
Wow.
Just because everybody, people are going to be randomly stopped and cars are going to be pulled over and dogs are going to sniff around the... It's crazy. There's got to be a better way to do this. Oh, and meanwhile, there are all these jets streaking up and down the lakefront, and there's Coast Guard boats all over the lakefront patrolling, and there's tanks, there's armed military. I mean, it's insane.
What's so wrong with our idea of putting this on an island and doing it there?
Malta. What happened to Malta?
Yeah.
Blow it up during a nuclear test? I mean, really? What? I don't even know where Malta is. I just know that used to be a place they had peace treaties.
Yeah.
Or neutral ground.
What happened to that?
Like the Super Bowl. You know,
Yeah.
you don't give one of the teams in the Super Bowl home field advantage. You play it on a neutral site.
Yeah.
Why are you bringing all of this stuff to an American city? It's going to be a tinderbox.
So are they at least covering it a little bit, or is it basically just Facebook Day?
It's Facebook Day.
Yeah.
I watched CNN for about an hour and a half today, and it was all Facebook Day. In fact, it was so much Facebook Day that they had gotten rid of the normal anchors who anchor this part of the CNN day.
And they're all dressed as Mark Zuckerberg?
No. And they replaced him with all of the Wall Street people, like Ali Valesky, who is the CNN business and money guy.
Right.
Excuse me. He was anchoring the last hour and a half, and he had Allison Cossack. Oh, do you know who Allison Cossack is?
Slutty little girl. I've always assumed that she's just like this slutty little stock girl.
You know her?
Yeah.
Don't you love her?
I do. She always does this slutty little smirk before she talks.
She's got those like smoky eyes, and everything about her is bedroom.
Yeah.
The pout to the bedroom. Oh, she is so awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you know who Allison Cossack is, because you don't know who anybody is. And nobody except me seems to know who Allison Cossack is, and you know who she is.
Oh, I not only know her, but I follow her on Twitter.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh God, isn't she sweet? Doesn't she just seem so sweet and sexy? Like,
She
everything
is.
about her is.
Yeah.
Sexy.
Oh, but she's also just a big C because
No.
Oh, she is, but I like it. She's one of those girls that I would like to like
She's
hate bang.
Spitfire.
Yeah, like because like she like especially when like Occupy was going on, she would have to walk by that area apparently every day.
Yeah.
And she'd always throw like a little like tweet out about how she hates the people there,
Yeah.
and like it was just hilarious. I loved it. It was part of it to me.
All those, you gotta understand. Aaron Burnett was the same way. Aaron Burnett was very like towards the Occupy people in the
I
beginning.
still like her too.
Yeah, I like her. You know what I like about Aaron Burnett? You know what's won me over on Aaron Burnett?
What's
I
that?
love the promo package that they use to promote her, because they show like Aaron Burnett in her everyday life, and she's just a girl, but she's always working. But she's a girl who's working. And they have this one still shot of her sitting on the beach as the sun is going down, and she's working her iPhone. Like, even when Aaron's on vacation, she's still chasing a story.
Yeah.
I love that. It's like, oh. See, that would be a great match for me. I need to get paired up with a workaholic,
Yeah.
so that I'm not always, feeling like I gotta entertain them and stuff. I can go and be alone.
It is much better that way to not have to worry about things like that as much. Like if you want to have to work, if you want to work the entire day, it's not going to turn into an issue.
Yeah.
I don't think that it would turn into an issue if you're with Aaron Burnett. She's
No.
busy chasing stories.
Yeah.
On the beach.
Here's the problem, though, with these people, these Wall Street journalists, these people who cover the markets for whether it's Fox or CNN or MSNBC, whatever they do. These people are not independent observers of the markets. These people are down there in the pits. When they go to lunch, who do you think they're going to lunch with? They're going to lunch with the big traders, and they're hanging out, they're socializing with the traders. Aaron Burnett is engaged to be married to a president at Goldman Sachs. I mean, so of course, she's not... It really bothered me. It was like, could you guys be maybe a little bit neutral about the Occupy thing? I know that you work in Wall Street and you're in Wall Street's pocket, but could you please just try and shield that for a minute?
Yeah, it really does kind of expose itself when Aaron slips up and says things like, "Oh, I've talked to many of my friends who run hedge funds."
Yes, right. They're not supposed to be your friends. They're supposed to be your sources, Aaron.
Yeah.
And that's off-putting. Just a little note. It's off-putting to those of us who think we're getting, unbiased reports. When you say, maybe it's best that she's up front.
You know what's funny though is that we're sitting here like kind of complaining because we're getting biased reporting, but neither of us have tuned out because she's pretty damn cute.
She is cute. She's really cute, and not only that, but I like her in every other thing. Like, I like her take on news. I like the way she interviews. I like everything about her except for that one thing. And she's cute. She's so cute. Like yesterday, she was talking about the Greek economy and how the economy is going down. And she just, at the end of the story, she said, I've got two very special ways that we can help the Greek economy. And she reached under her desk and she brought up 2 bottles of Greek olive oil. And she goes, this stuff is awesome. You should buy it. This stuff in particular, if you're cooking with meats, this is great. And it was like a commercial, but it really wasn't a commercial. It was just her kind of being cute as to how America could help the Greek economy by buying this really good Greek olive oil. And it probably was a good commercial for the 2 brands. But, and of course, though, these weren't any brands that you could buy in the store. These were all like specialty shop brands that were just fantastic. And each bottle probably cost $45. It was like one of those things. Yeah. But I thought it was cute how she did it. It was funny. It was tongue-in-cheek and,
Yeah, I do. I like that she's a little bit rough with people, too. She won't put up with complete BS, which it's crazy how some journalists, and I almost want to put up quotes when I say that, will just be like, oh, okay, moving on. When they get completely spun around and like duped, they just keep going. But Erin seems to do
she calls
pretty
people.
Good.
Yeah, she's good. We're talking about Erin Burnett on CNN, and we started out talking about Allison Cossack also on CNN. All right, so the Facebook IPO, we covered that. The start of NATO and what's going on in downtown Chicago today. The next thing that I want to get into here, we'll take a break. Let's get into a little bit of a break here. We'll come back. We'll do the third of 3 things. I want to talk about the new information in the Trayvon Martin case.
Okay.
Have you seen this?
Just bits of it.
Yeah, okay. Why? Here's my question. Why were we all allowed and was the media allowed to go on sorry, I'm having a little problem here. I think it's the mic here. There was all this information that was just released yesterday. Why? It seems to me that the media convicted people and was doing all of these suppose this happened and hypothetical scenarios, and we're watching thinking that we're getting some information here when really it was not. It was not information. It was all just people talking about what they thought happened. Yeah. There is a much clearer story. There are witnesses now that the police knew about the whole time that they just didn't release to the media. Wow. People who literally watched it go on. There's like a picture from a smartphone. They know who the voice was, yet for weeks they let the media go and get their own independent experts and say, who's the voice screaming here? Well, the police knew all along who the voice screaming was because there was an eyewitness to it who immediately in the 911 call that this eyewitness made said this guy said this person is screaming. I mean, it's just a whole bunch of new Trayvon Martin evidence. I'm a little bit torn now. We're going to have to talk about what this does to our thoughts on this story. We'll take a break. We'll come back. It's The Bar Live. I'm Pugs Moran. It's PMS for a Friday afternoon. thebarlive.com, PMS for a Friday afternoon. Thebarlive.com, by the way, where you can go to find all of our other shows. New shows being added daily. Well, I shouldn't say daily, that's misleading. But you can find shows like the Y&R show. A couple of good saucy kids that come in here once a week and do a little show for you. We've also got Big Dave. Hope you don't mind F-bombs, because that show's free and clear with those F-bombs.
Filled with them.
They know they're cussing for sure.
They sure do. They got that part down.
Like I said, the unhealthiest show on radio.
And I got, by the way, Brandon Shaw, of course, Sunbrew Brandon, everybody knows him here. I got in trouble for that. I said they were the most unhealthy show on radio. I just agreed with it. I didn't say it.
I heard that whole argument, and I want credit for that. That's what I tagged them.
That's yours.
I think it's fitting of their show.
Absolutely. All right, Brandon joins us now because he's a racist, and he feels that he was right the entire time about George Zimmerman. So let's get into this news story. The third of three things. Witness told cops he saw Trayvon Martin straddling George Zimmerman and punching him MMA style. A witness told Florida cops that he saw Trayvon Martin straddling George Zimmerman shortly before the unarmed teen was felled by a gunshot to the chest. The witness's account was included in the Sanford Police Department's reports that were released today. Interviewed by cops about 90 minutes after the shooting, the witness, whose name was redacted, that's important that it's noted that he was interviewed 90 minutes after the incident, because he couldn't have been sullied by any of the media or any of the, it was horrible. He just basically said what he saw.
Yeah, that's
there was
close.
no agenda there.
That's so close that you're still kind of in shock. Well, you're definitely in shock. You're shaken, but you have a vivid reality of what happened.
Interviewed by cops about 90 minutes after the shooting, the witness, whose name was redacted from police documents, said that he was inside his home when he heard a commotion coming from the walkway behind his residence. The man recalled seeing a black male wearing a dark-colored hoodie on top of a white or Hispanic male who was yelling for help. The black male, he added, was mounted on the white and throwing punches MMA style. The witness who was in his home, the witness who was in his living room and about 30 feet away from the confrontation said he called out to the two men that he was calling 911. He then heard a pop, police reported, and saw the black male laid out on the grass. Let's see here. Oh, by the way, also the video from the 7-Eleven where Trayvon Martin was buying his Skittles and iced tea.
Uh-huh.
Media got that right. That's what he was buying, Arizona iced tea and some Skittles.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a creepy video to look at. That was also released today. Because it's like, wow, look at that kid having a nice little conversation with the dude behind the counter. I mean, he was kind of hanging out there, like talking with the guy. And I'm like, you're going to be dead in about 10 minutes.
Wow.
These are your last 10 minutes on Earth, kid.
Jeez.
And you're just getting yourself a little Skittles and a little bit of an Arizona cooler. The witness who was in his living room, we already covered that. Zimmerman is pictured above in photos taken by police shortly after the February 26th shooting. The police report also includes observations from two Sanford cops regarding Zimmerman's physical appearance following the shooting. Officer Timothy Smith reported that Zimmerman was bleeding from the nose and back of his head, while Officer Jonathan Meade noted that he appeared to have a broken and bloody nose and a swelling of his face. Investigators also reported receiving medical reports from the Altamont Medical Practice identifying the injuries sustained by Zimmerman on the evening. The records indicate that he suffered an open wound of the scalp and nasal bones with closed fractures.
Oh, goodness.
Another piece of the puzzle here, although not a piece at all, it's just going to serve to murk this up, was that in the Drudge Report, Trayvon was on drugs. Mm-hmm. He had some weed in his system.
Right.
He's a 17-year-old kid. Of course he's going to have some weed. And they describe it as trace amounts. So it's like he wasn't high at the time. And it's weed.
Look at you already defending him again, though. This is my problem I have.
No, I'm not. I'm keeping the media honest. I'm keeping the media honest about you cannot classify. When you say someone's on drugs and it turns out it's weed, that's like saying he was on drugs and it turns out it was
But
aspirin.
when it was about Zimmerman, you were on full-blown attack about knowing the whole story.
Oh, no. I was reacting to the story and the details that we had. Now,
and I told you then that we don't know the whole details.
Now, I want to... Well, no, what we have is a clearer picture.
I'm talking about back in the day when we talked about this.
Right, you're talking about a couple weeks ago. What we have now is a clearer picture. Now, you came in here, you said, I want to be involved in this next thing because I was right. I'm not even sure what your position was. My position has not changed. These facts don't do anything to change the fact that this guy started a confrontation with somebody, got his ass kicked because he started a confrontation, and then when he was getting his ass kicked, he killed the guy. You can't do that. You can't draw your gun because you got your ass kicked in a fight that you thought you were going to win.
No, he confronted a person, which we don't know the details, by the way. We don't know what happened.
We know a lot of details today.
No, we don't. We don't know enough. There was obviously this guy's Was he on the crime watch? Was the story behind him?
No, he wasn't. He was a self-described block captain. He wasn't.
Good for him. We need more of that because my car gets broken.
So you want more vigilantes?
I want more people watching out for my best interest.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was not in any official capacity. He was just a neighbor guy who was taking it upon himself to be the neighborhood block captain.
As an adult, okay, and good for him for being this way. As an adult, he confronts a minor that looks suspicious, who's doing some suspicious type stuff.
What was he doing that was suspicious?
He was moving in and out of the apartment.
Because this is the problem. This is what this entire case is going to come down to.
Did you see how black he was?
Yeah, is that what you're saying? Did you see how black he was?
I didn't say that.
Was he wearing his hoodie over his
Did
head?
I say the word black?
It was raining.
No,
you didn't say anything. You said suspicious.
I said he saw suspicious activity.
What was the suspicious activity?
He was moving in and out of the doorways, like going in, going out, like he could have been checking for doors to be unlocked.
Because it was
open.
pouring down rain.
It doesn't matter. The bottom line is, it doesn't give him the right to start attacking Zimmerman. Zimmerman confronted him. Doesn't mean you can start punching me.
Dude.
Now, we don't know what happened, but the bottom line is he was beating up this guy. The guy was yelling for help.
You
At what point
realize
does the kid
that
stop
if
beating his ass?
Zimmerman had just minded his own damn business and not tried to be a hero, this kid would be alive, and the kid didn't do anything. The kid was getting followed by a weirdo and decided to kick the weirdo's ass.
Now, you
Who
say
wouldn't
minding
do
his own
that?
business. The problem with this world is we watch that show together, or not together, but on Friday nights when people don't mind their own business. They let people steal bikes and rob stuff because they mind their own business. You don't let stuff go, suspicious activity or crime go on. You jump in, you step in, you get involved. You
Get
help
involved
out.
in what? A kid that was walking home in the rain trying to make the second half of the All-Star game? What was he
looked
doing?
suspicious.
How did he look suspicious?
I told you he was moving in and out of the doorways, apparently. We don't know. We weren't there.
Because
we don't know
it
what
was
happened.
raining.
The bottom line doesn't give you
This stuff we know. We
Okay.
know why he was ducking
It was
under
rain- that's
awnings because
fine.
it was pouring.
It was raining,
And it
but the-
started to rain while he was walking back. So he
the
was getting
bottom
poured
line is
on.
it doesn't give them the right to attack George Zimmerman. If he did in fact attack
Wait a
him.
second. Wait a second. George Zimmerman was told by the police to leave him alone, and George Zimmerman decided that he was going to be the hero, and George Zimmerman got out of the car. George Zimmerman confronted him. George Zimmerman was wrong, by the way. The kid lived in the neighborhood. He had every right to be there. What are you thinking?
Let me give you an example. About a year ago, I'll go outside after my car had been broken into, and I confront someone out there. Go, what's going on out there? What's going on out there? Come here.
Yeah.
I think someone's breaking into my car.
Right.
I'm in the wrong for that
I have no idea how this parallels the story.
because
we're
I
talking
saw some suspicious activity. I heard noises. I confronted someone out by my car.
But something had happened. A car was broken into.
No, it wasn't.
Nothing had
It wasn't.
happened here.
Stop. It was not broke. My car had been broken 2 weeks before, so I'm suspicious of stuff.
Okay.
I hear people out there. It's late, like 2 or 3 in the morning. I go out there. It turns out to be my neighbor, but I confront him. I'm like, "What's going on? Come here." I'm in the wrong for trying to protect my property in a suspicious activity.
No.
All they had to do is say, "I'm your neighbor." It's no big deal.
No, you're a homeowner who heard something on your property and you
Zimmerman
came out to investigate.
saw
George
something-
Zimmerman was taking it upon himself to be the neighborhood hero,
All
get
right.
involved in business. He had nothing.
Follow me
done.
on this. Neighbor, let's say my neighbor has someone out there walking around their car at 3 a.m. in the morning. It looks suspicious. I can't confront them. I should just sit back and go, okay, it's not my
You
business.
know what seems to be lost on you? You don't seem to value the fact that a life has been lost here.
I do value the fact, but it
Yeah.
doesn't mean the problem is how many lives have been taken because people didn't step in and help out. How many crimes have been committed?
That
when
has
people
nothing
didn't?
to do
It has
with
everything
that.
to do with it.
There's
The fact
nothing
is
to do
we
with
lost a
this.
life. It's sad. It's horrible. But at the same time,
We lost a life of someone who wasn't doing anything wrong, who got confronted by an overzealous, over
he was beating the dude's
neighbor
ass.
with
If he not
nobody.
been beating the dude's ass, the guy wouldn't have pulled out the gun and shot him.
He would. Okay.
Yeah, okay,
All right,
yeah.
let's work this. You could not be more simple on this, Brandon. You need to open your mind to the way
is
that
very
the world
open.
works. No, it's not. If you are walking down your street, all right, and you see a guy in a black car and he's kind of stalking you, and you don't know what the hell is going on with this guy. He's following you, make a turn, he's turning, all this stuff. You decide that you're going to shake this weirdo in your neighborhood because you're a kid and you don't know what the hell is going on. So you decide you're going to dart through some yards to try and lose this guy. You come out the other end of the yard and you see the car that was following you is now parked with the door open. This guy is now out of the car and he's
A
around
lot of assumptions here.
I would
A lot
jump
of
that
assumptions by
MF
you.
too.
A lot of assumptions by you.
Not
A lot of assumptions
one
by
of
you.
those is an assumption. Everything I just said is in George Zimmerman's own words. That's his description.
Now, what we don't know is that George Zimmerman said, "Hey, I'm part of the black block captain. I'm here to want to find out what's going on." We don't know what happened. See, that's the problem you're missing here.
But he
We don't-
wasn't a block
It
captain.
doesn't matter. He's an adult trying to protect his American rights and protect his property.
What about Trayvon's American rights? What about Trayvon's right to walk home
So
in his
if I
neighborhood?
see you, I'm like, hey, in fact, you know what? I followed some people out of the parking lot at Harley Davidson like about 4 weeks ago.
Dude, you would
They
do
looked
great in a fascist society. You would do great in Nazi Germany. Your
Let me tell you
attitudes are so
something.
anti-American right
No,
now.
it's
You're
very
telling me
American.
that this kid didn't have the right to walk home and not
He
be
did,
accosted
but he
by
also
somebody?
has. But George Zimmerman had the right to go. What's going on? What are you up to? What are you doing? He has the right.
No.
Freedom of speech, buddy. Yeah. Yeah.
You think that's freedom of speech?
I have the right to.
Is that really what you think freedom
If I
of
see
speech
somebody
is?
walking around, I have the right to go. What are you up to? What's going on? Do they look suspicious? I think I have that right. Yeah.
All right. There's nothing. You're wrong. You couldn't be more wrong. I mean, even the Zimmerman side would say that you're wrong on this. This is
And
not.
I don't have the right to confront someone that looks suspicious.
No, you don't.
In my
no,
area.
you have a right to call 911.
Okay,
And,
well-
and then when you talk to 911 and they say, don't do anything, the police are on the way, you listen to the authorities. You don't go, Superman, and you go out there and try and stop it yourself. This guy thought he was going to be the hero, and he ended up getting his ass kicked by a 17-year-old kid, and when he was getting his ass kicked, he killed the kid. You can't do that. You can't start a fight with Jimmy.
We don't know he started a fight. He asked. He could have said, "Hey man,
What
what's
do you
going
mean?
on?"
We know who got out of the car.
No,
He said he got out
it
of the car.
doesn't mean he started a fight. Because you ask someone, it means you started a fight. Because I go, "What are you up to, man? What's going on here?" That's starting a fight? No, it's not. No, I disagree.
I think being creepy and being scared is a legitimate
Oh, you
defense
saw him,
for
so you know
Trayvon.
he was being creepy.
Well, yeah, he is
You're
creepy.
assuming
He is
a lot of
creepy.
assumptions. Oh, because of his looks. Because
No,
of his looks.
He's creepy because he's a nerd who wants to be the
Oh,
neighborhood hero.
so now he's a
That's
nerd.
why.
So you're saying you're basically doing the same thing he supposedly did. Because Trayon he's black with a hood on. You're doing the same thing. You're saying he's a nerd. What makes him a nerd? Show me why he's a nerd.
George Zimmerman?
Yeah.
He's over officious. He's nerdy. He's a cop wannabe who couldn't be a cop because he failed the entrance exam. He's a wannabe. Yeah, that's a
So you're
nerd.
putting a label on him for that.
That's not a nerd. These guys that want to be cops
That
and
doesn't
they,
make him
and
a
they
nerd.
can't make it because
I don't
there's
think. I
some
think
issue.
a nerd is a book person, a computer geek. That's to me is a nerd. But that's your. I mean, you
So
have the right to
you
think
don't
that.
think the guy. You don't think the guy.
No, I'm giving you a right to think that.
I did. This is crazy to me. This is just crazy to me. This is a guy who had no authority, who deemed himself the neighborhood watchdog, even though the neighborhood didn't have a watchdog, didn't want a watchdog, didn't need a watchdog.
They weren't asking for a watchdog.
No, he took it on himself to confront a resident of the neighborhood because that resident was doing suspicious things, as you said, all suspicious things that are, really? Is that suspicious? It's raining and someone is ducking under awnings and then
So
running to
what's
the next
harm?
one?
What's the harm going? Man, sir, I'm not doing nothing wrong. I apologize. I'm Trayvon or whatever. I live right over here in apartment B3. And he could have said that.
Because it's not Trayvon. Trayvon doesn't have to explain himself to this guy. What is wrong with you? Who is George
So
Zimmerman
he
that he
decides
gets
to beat the
demand
dude's ass.
an
So,
answer?
so instead, he's going to beat the dude's ass.
Brandon, who is George Zimmerman to demand answers from another citizen who lives in the area?
Then Trayvon
who the hell is he?
So Trayvon had the right to beat his ass?
Trayvon had the right to be scared and to think that
And
he
beat
might
his
be in trouble.
ass?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, you're so
Absolutely.
wrong.
If he was
So
scared
wrong.
and he thought this guy was stalking
We
him,
don't know that he
without
was
a-
scared.
Dude, why
Did
do
you talk
think-
to Trayvon? He told you he was scared? He sent you a text?
No, but his girlfriend did, who he was
You know
talking
why?
to on the phone when this happened. You don't have the facts, Brandon. You don't know the story as well as you think you do.
Okay, listen. I
He
just
was
don't
talking to his girlfriend. He called his girlfriend and said, you know what? There's this weird guy following me. I don't know what to do. She said, run, get out of there. And he apparently said, I'm not going to run. This is my neighborhood. I don't have to run. Those were Trayvon's
I'm gonna beat some ass.
That's what I'm gonna beat some ass too if
So-
some weird guy is chasing me in my neighborhood.
Two sides here now.
You're the pussy who's not gonna defend yourself when you're
Yeah,
being
but-
followed in your own neighborhood by some weirdo that's
No, I'm
stalking you in a car.
You know what? I'm gonna say, what's up? What's going on here? That's
Well,
what I'm gonna do. I've had
how
it
do you
happen.
know
You know
that
what had
didn't
happened
happen?
just about 2 months
All right,
ago.
Here's the other thing. Let's talk about this. Now let's definitely speculate here. Are you trying to get me to believe that George Zimmerman, after all of this, after calling 911 42 times in the last year and having gotten just off the phone with 911 who told him to stay in his vehicle, that police were on the way, are you telling me that this guy got out of his car and went, hey, buddy, hey, what you got there, buddy? Hey, friend. You don't think George Zimmerman was like, hey, stop right there. If someone says that to me, I say, F you. Or maybe I stop and I go, what's up? I go, what's up, prick? Come on, what's going on? Why are you stopping me? You're telling me you are erring on the side of George Zimmerman being this Superman Clark Kent type who was doing no harm and was simply out there. He was an over-officious, overzealous cop wannabe who ended up killing a kid because he got in over his head.
I'm erring on the side that there's two sides of the story that I'm part of. First of all, I like the fact that people are trying to help out and look out for the neighborhood. I like that. I'm sorry that I appreciate that fact. Okay?
I'm all for organized community watches. I'm all for organized community watches. All for it. I think that's great. I think people need to get involved.
All right, so
it's good to have somebody to call the cops if anything's going on.
Right. I'm all for that.
And as a person that's had two different incidents that I know who did what they did to my property. And after the cops doing nothing about it whatsoever, knowing who the hell did what they did to my property, all over Facebook, is about as much evidence as you could probably get about a sworn statement saying I did this. And I wish somebody would have walked outside and protected my property.
Okay, so what do you think should happen here? Do you think there should be any penalty for him killing a kid?
Here's what I think should happen.
Who was doing nothing wrong?
Here's what I think should happen. I'd like to know the length of time the beating went on, how long he was on top of that guy, because there is some evidence of the time, I believe.
We've got a witness here.
Is it 30 seconds?
He said about 38 seconds.
Okay. I'd never seen these pictures of this guy all beat up till now. Mm-hmm. I think that was very misleading.
You know what else we haven't seen? We also haven't seen the picture of the corpse. So,
Yeah, no, but we know it's
would that change your opinion?
It's
you
pretty
see a
obvious.
picture of a dead body?
It's obvious he's dead.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a, I don't think we'll ever know exactly what happened because none of us were there. I think the guy should probably get 12 years.
Here's okay. All right. You know what? Common ground. Common ground there.
So let's give it to him. 12 years. We're good.
I don't know if 12 years. I mean, you'd have to look at all these things, but I certainly do not think that George Zimmerman should be held accountable the way we would hold someone who is just a murderer, who just robbed a liquor store and shot the guy dead. This was a tragic accident, but it was precipitated by a series of really bad decisions made by George Zimmerman. None of these bad decisions that led to the death of Trayvon Martin were Trayvon Martin's, other than maybe he should have taken an umbrella so that he didn't look so suspicious ducking in and out of awnings on his way home in a rainstorm.
There's also the fact that I've had fights. You've had fights. We've all had fights. Have you ever been winning a fight, though, and stopped?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Because I haven't killed anybody.
But my point is I'm trying to play devil's advocate here.
I know.
Just so you know. And I think he's guilty of something. Zimmerman is guilty of something. To what that is, I don't know. He needs to be in jail for some point. But there's also part of me going, people heard him going, help me, help me. At some point, the beating, when Trayvon had control of the situation, which he did, he was on top of the guy. Right. The dude's screaming, help me, help me. Right. At some point, whenever I fight, if I know I'm in control, I stop.
Right.
Because I know how to have control. I feel like Trayvon... This guy happened to have a gun, and he walked outside with a gun on. And before you say anything, I understand that he had a gun, and then at some point his mind went berserk mode. He's getting his ass beat. That he's crying out for help. He looks like he got his ass beat, and at some point his natural self-defense instincts kicked in and go, stop this. I pull a gun out. That's because he had it on him. That's what I think happened.
Well, then this is a whole bigger issue. Someone like George Zimmerman should have never been allowed to have a gun, because this guy like George Zimmerman is going to think that gun makes him Superman, and he's going to start fights, and the end result of that is he's not Superman. He's going to lose those fights, and he's going to resort to using the gun, and somebody's going to be dead because George Zimmerman started a fight with them.
That no one's watching is apparently... If George Zimmerman was so zealous to kill somebody and shoot somebody or whatever, that trigger would have pulled off the minute the first punch was thrown.
And that's why I'm saying he's not a murderer. I'm saying that he's a guy.
Would you agree with me on that, though?
Oh, absolutely.
So he waited into the fight to actually pull the trigger at some point.
Brandon, if you, let's put it this way. Let's say you got a beef with somebody, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that you see that person out and about, and you confront them, and you take a swing at him, and you guys are now fighting. You initiated the fight. Don't say anything, and you initiated the confrontation. Nothing. You would have never had. If you'd have just ignored the guy, everything would have been fine. You initiate the confrontation. You start fighting with this guy, and this guy starts whipping your ass. You think it's right that then you have the right to shoot him because you started the fight?
Hold on. You said I swung first. You said that.
You initiated the confrontation.
But you also said I swung first. You said that.
Semantics. You initiated whatever confrontation there was that ended up with you getting your ass
kicked. The question
is,
and this is where here's my difference of his jail sentence. Did he swing first or did Trayvon? That makes a difference in my mind. It makes a difference because there's physical confrontation.
He attempted.
It does.
He attempted to detain an American citizen. He had no right to do that.
So we know that he grabbed this kid. Hold on. Stop. Did he verbally say all this or did he physically detain this kid? There's a difference.
Did he verbally say?
Did he say stop, don't go nowhere, or did he grab and say don't go nowhere?
First of all, do you think that Trayvon Martin had a right to be a little freaked out about this guy following him in his own neighborhood?
Answer my question.
All right,
because I don't know all the details.
Because this is very important.
Did he
very important.
physically touch this kid?
I can't answer if you're not going to go along with the story. We're trying to establish a pattern here, and then I'll answer your question. Do you believe that Trayvon Martin had a right to be worried about his safety, having somebody creepy following him? And then trying to lose the person that was following him, coming out the other end of a yard, a courtyard, and seeing the car that was following him now parked with the door open, and that's in the police report that the car was parked, still running with the door open. That tells you that that guy who was following you in the car is now on foot. Do you have a right to be threatened?
Yes.
Okay, so now if you see that guy and you try and stop him or take him down because you're feeling threatened, don't you think you have that right? Aren't you just defending yourself? Aren't you concerned for your safety?
Here's my problem with you, though. You threw the first punch. You said I threw the first punch a while ago. Now you're saying Trayvon might have thrown the first punch, and it'd be okay. I understand
said punch
that.
because I was trying to be more colloquial than to
But
just
if
say
you're
confrontation.
if you're gonna use that in the story, that's a crucial part of the story. If I threw as Zimmerman, if Zimmerman threw the first punch, it's a lot different than if Trayvon threw the first.
Right.
I can see why Trayvon would throw the first punch. He's scared.
There you go.
I get that.
He's scared. He's
but you
protecting
said I
himself.
threw the first punch a while ago.
Okay, he is protecting himself. So a confrontation starts. The confrontation ends badly for Zimmerman, and so Zimmerman, the guy who started this whole mess, decides to kill him. He shoots him because if Zimmerman... Why couldn't Zimmerman just take his ass beaten? Why did he go to his gun and shoot him? That was a little bit of an extreme escalation, don't you think?
Listen, I told you, after 30 seconds to get your ass beat, your mind maybe goes into overdrive. You think you're getting your ass beat. It's hurting. His nose is broken. You can't die getting beat, right?
So
would you admit that you can get killed by someone beating your ass? Yeah. Okay. Of
course
you can.
Well,
so hold on. With that being said, what we don't know is did Zimmerman just chase him, or did Zimmerman going, "Hey, dude, or what are you doing? What's going on?" It's if someone says, "What are you doing?" I don't think they're trying to beat my ass or freak me out.
But that's really irrelevant.
It's very relevant.
It's about how did this whole thing start?
Very relevant.
It's about why did this scenario begin in the first place, and it began because this man was unlawfully trying to detain or somehow convict this kid of doing something that he wasn't doing.
That's fine. But the point is did this trade-on kid, once he got close to Zimmerman, did Zimmerman going, if someone says, what are you up to? I don't think they're just trying to stop me to beat my ass. I know by their words that they think I'm doing something wrong.
Everything that we are speculating on right now will have to come from the only witness that's alive, and that's George Zimmerman. So when the court case begins and we hear in his own words, we will know exactly how those moments occurred. But what I am saying and what most people are saying is that's all just clutter. The story is, why did George Zimmerman confront someone he had no right to confront, and why?
Okay, so let's convict him of that for sure. That's fine. I'll give you that. Okay. What's that? A month in jail? I mean, what is that? A misdemeanor? Well, that doesn't give you the right to start punching somebody because I freaked you out.
It's harassment.
Lots of people creep me the hell out. I don't beat their ass.
Yeah, I guess it wouldn't be stalking.
I don't. Look, you heard what I just said?
No.
Lots of people creep me out, and my girls out on a regular basis. Does not give me the right to beat their ass.
Yeah, but again, that's
not
the same situation at all.
Yes, it is.
No, it is
Dude,
not.
there's two guys that let their Harley shop follow one of my girls to her car. Her car. That's creepy.
Right, and if one of your girls had ended up killing that, or if one of those guys had ended up killing that girl because the girl confronted him about it, that guy would be wrong, right? Right? You just stepped in your own pile of crap.
No, listen.
Yes, you just did. If one of those creeps follows your girl and freaks her out, and she gets out of her car and she bitch slaps him, or maybe she's got something, she arm bars him, and he panics and shoots that girl, that guy is still a criminal,
right? The difference
right?
is, did they go, hey, man, we think we're fun because we think he stole something to Harley Davidson? Then she addresses the problem. There's a difference there. What
did you just say?
If those guys that we thought were creepy, we thought they were creepy, but then they verbally explain why they're following her, it's a little different. It's much different.
Because we thought you stole something. So
if they said something to her, listen, follow me, stop it.
And I'm going to stop you right now. Because if you work at Harley Davidson and I leave the shop, and by the way, Harley Davidson, fine sponsor. We're just using them as a random example. If I walk out of Harley Davidson and I get in my car and I'm on the road and I'm driving home and I notice that someone from Harley Davidson is following me, and then they confront me and say, I think
that
you
ain't
stole.
how it went down.
That's what you just said. You just said because I thought you stole something. Stop. They don't have the right to do that. They call the police. That's why we have police.
They weren't in the car. They were in the parking lot, I'm saying. And if they said, ma'am, we think you have something, can you hold on? Then she has no right to go after them. It's obvious that they have good intentions, that they're worried about some kind of crime to be committed.
I don't understand why you are defending this guy. The guy obviously made some mistakes. The only question is now is what is the penalty for his mistakes ending in the death of a kid? That's the question.
Death occurred due to other actions, though.
His actions. He pulled a gun and he shot him.
It started with the fact that he was confronting the kid. Maybe that's kind of the where it all began, so to speak, but that doesn't give you the right to attack someone.
Look, you know what? I'm fine. 12 years, I'm fine with that. I don't think he's a murderer. I don't think he's any threat to society. That's why we lock murderers up for life, is because we think that they'll do it again. I don't think this guy will do it again. In fact, I hope this guy never owns a firearm again in his life. I do think that there needs to be a penalty for his poor judgment, and if that penalty is going to be 10 years in jail, that's fine.
I'm cool with the fact that things went wrong and he should be punished for that, okay? I'm cool with that. I'm just saying there's some responsibility on... we don't know what happened. If I follow you out to your car one day and I think you're doing something wrong, and I go, Pugs, what are you doing? Come here, I want to talk to you. That doesn't give you the right to beat my ass.
But what do you think I'm doing wrong?
Hold on, answer me. Does it give you the right to beat my ass?
If you confront me and I've done nothing wrong, yes, absolutely.
So
it does. I can defend myself if I feel threatened. Yes, I can.
No, hold on. Because I want to ask you, Pugs, hold on. I want to talk to you about something. Because you are innocent, you get to beat my ass. That's what you're telling me. That's what you just said. You did nothing wrong. You can beat my ass. You just said that.
Okay. I'm walking. Is this the Harley Davidson theft scenario?
No, you're walking out of my house, and I go to the car. You're at your car, and I'm like, "Hold on, man, hold on, come here. I want to talk to you real quick. I want to talk. Come here, hold on."
First of all, I don't have to stop and talk to you. I'm an American citizen. I don't have to pay any attention to you. You
but
don't
doesn't give you the right to beat my ass, does it?
If I feel threatened, if I feel like you're trying to detain me against my will, yes, I have a right to defend myself.
Because I'm verbally saying, hold on, stop, hold on. You can beat my ass.
Okay, I'm going to go with you on this. No, if you're just saying, hold on, I'm going to ignore you, I'm going to get my car and I'm going to go. But that has nothing to do with the scenario.
Sure it does. We don't know what happened. He might have been like, he might have said, trade on, hey kid, hold on, kid, hold on. We don't know what happened.
The guy went looking for trouble. The guy found trouble. And because he's a pussy, he shot and killed the guy that he started the trouble with. That is the long and the short of it. That's what this is, Brandon. He started the confrontation. The kid lived in the neighborhood.
Kids get confronted by adults all the time. Like, kid, what are you doing? It happens all the time. It doesn't give them the right to beat some adult's ass.
It does not. Average citizens like George Zimmerman do not have the right to take the law into their own hand and use their own best judgment as to who's a criminal and who isn't. He was obviously wrong
well,
in
I hope
this
somebody's
case.
suspiciously hanging around your car and it looks like they're about, they're doing something suspicious. And I'm just going I have no right to worry. I'll just move on.
It's not about a right to worry. It's about a right to go out there with a gun. Why did this guy confront anyone in an authoritative way, a way that he had no official capacity, with a loaded weapon? That's the problem, Brandon.
Was a weapon legal? Did he have it? Did he have a license?
Yeah.
Okay. He has the right to bear arms. He just happened to have an arm on him when he confronted someone. I'm just saying.
So
if somebody's messing with your, let me end on this.
Interpretation.
Let me end on this. If we're ever out and someone's suspiciously acting weird around your kid, yourself, or your car, just know that I'm probably going to confront them about it. Okay. I'm going to just put it out there, and that makes me a bad guy. And I'm sorry I'm such a dick and I'm a bad guy because I'm trying to help protect you and your property and your kid. I apologize ahead of time. And I deserve to get my ass beat.
I think that you're misguided, and I think that your take on this is dangerous. I don't think it makes you not necessarily a bad guy.
I just want to apologize ahead of time because if something ever looks suspicious, I'm going to probably confront them.
We cannot detain other American citizens. As a citizen, you can't. He didn't do anything. He wasn't doing anything. The problem is you say he looks suspicious to you.
Don't use the word
detain. Are you trained to be able to determine what is actual suspicious behavior?
And I said
neither is George Zimmerman. You know what? Here's the bottom line, and this is what unfortunately is going to bubble up. He was profiling him. I tried to stay away from that word, but he was profiling him, and because he profiled him, a kid ended up dead. It was a huge mistake, and this is why profiling is always under fire.
You can't say that because of the fact that there could have been a white kid with no hoodie on that could have been looking suspicious. We don't know his ammo. We don't know that he does this on a regular basis.
Why
the kid happened to have a hoodie
say
on.
That? There could have been, but there wasn't. Can't you stay on
But
point?
also, it's just maybe it's coincidental that the kid happened to have a hoodie on. Maybe he was being suspicious and he happened to be black. He happened to have a hoodie on. You can't go along those lines.
There you have it. That's our Trayvon Martin argument for today. He's been Brandon from Sunbrew. Where are you heading out? You're heading out somewhere? You gonna do something
Byron
fun?
Nelson, dude.
Byron Nelson?
Byron Nelson.
You know what? You're going to find a lot of dudes out there that agree with you. You're going to find a lot of dudes out at the Byron Nelson.
You're
Old
gonna have to be my
dudes.
peeps.
Matter of fact, you might be able to find something that'll go on a witch hunt with you and
Yeah.
find like different neighborhoods to go.
Can rustle up a posse.
Well, tonight when you
There.
watch John Quiñones or whatever his name is tonight,
Sheldon
Quiñones,
Quinones.
and he's doing What Would You Do?
Yeah.
You'll know what I would have done.
Not the same thing.
Same thing.
All right. We'll
All
take a
right.
break. We'll come back. Second hour of the show is on the way. That, of course, was Brandon, Sunbrew Brandon. Jimmy Ryan's here as well. It is a Friday episode of PMS on thebarlive.com. All right, it's thebarlive.com, PMS, the Pugs Moran Show for a Friday afternoon. Jimmy Ryan is with me. Hi, Jimmy.
Hey, man.
What's happening?
Oh, not much. I enjoyed that last segment.
Oh,
It got so
yeah.
heated that I was just like, oh, I'll just stay here.
I always worry because, like, in here, I want to get heated.
Right.
I want to scream at people. But as
Uh-huh.
soon as the mics go off, we got to, like, okay, that was
Yeah.
good. That was fun.
Right.
You're wrong, but we're going to drop it. You know, like that kind of thing. So, yeah, that is great. And anytime that Brandon wants to come in here and offer his perspective on something, I'd love to go toe-to-toe if, in fact, we are of opposing points of view. Here's something I don't think any of us are of opposing points of view. This story came out. It was posted yesterday just as we were ending the show, and it upset me to no end that we didn't get to talk about this on the air yesterday. Did you see that there is a study out? Excuse me, study that claims that gaydar is real.
Oh, I did see something about this.
Yeah, we were just talking about this yesterday, not this study, but we were talking about gaydar.
Uh-huh.
And I have unimpeachable gaydar. So,
Really?
oh yeah, I can always tell, or I can always suspect. Now, that doesn't mean that from time to time I am certain that someone is gay and it turns out that they're not gay. That doesn't mean I'm wrong. That just means that they're in the closet.
Oh, okay. They haven't
you know
come
what I
out
mean?
yet.
Right. Like
yeah.
they're not admitting it to themselves. Here's the story. Gaydar is real. Can you detect sexual orientation just by looking at someone's face? A study released yesterday says there's a good chance you can. Students from University of Washington were able to distinguish accurately, more often than not, between gay and straight people after looking at their Facebook photo for less than a second. So basically, they would show somebody a face. That I want to be in that study where
I
they're
know.
just showing me gay,
Yeah.
gay, totally gay, straight.
It's like a room full of jocks from
Gay.
around the nation.
Yeah. They use the University of Washington football team for
Yeah.
this. Total gay.
Yeah.
Super gay. Hey, that's me.
Yeah.
Gay. What? No, that's me. We humanoids have some pretty impressive powers of perception and detection. Malcolm Gladwell makes hay of rapid Malcolm Gladwell makes hay of rapid cognition. Why can't I say rapid cognition?
Yeah.
Why can't I say that? In his bestseller Blink, but the snap judgments Gladwell discusses are typically built on a great deal more information than a lone Facebook shot. In this study, conducted by psychology researchers from the University of Washington and Cornell, 196 people were shown black and white photographs of faces, just faces, with the hair cropped out. Well, yeah, because the hair is always a dead giveaway.
Yeah.
That's a gay haircut. You
Yeah.
know, that hair is always
My haircut? Yeah.
No, not you.
No, mine is pretty gay, actually.
Now, your hair just looks like you woke up and you got
Yeah.
bedhead. You pay and work to have bedhead.
Right. Yeah, which is pretty gay.
I don't get that. I don't get that any more than I get people who pay $150 for ripped up jeans.
Which I can be one of those people.
Really? All right.
Not really. I won't pay those crazy amounts, but I will go through the effort of taking my $26 jeans and kind of making them look a little ruffled around the edges.
Those jeans are so expensive because of the overhead. They make homeless people wear them for a year before they sell them to you at Nordstrom's.
Yeah, and it's hard to actually track them down
That's how they get
after
that
a year.
That's how they get that broken in look. Yeah. Let's see. The face is assumed to reflect experiences, the researchers said. Perhaps women's faces reflect more than men's, as lesbians were accurately detected more often than gay men. Well, here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
Real lesbians, and I'm not talking about penthousey lesbians. You know, the ones that are in the... I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about real lesbians.
Distinguishable?
I think so. I mean, I think real... And they cut out the hair, so you can't go with the short cropped haircut, which is pretty standard on a lot of very lesbian types. I mean, I would don't look. There are a lot of awful words that I can use to describe the type of. I'm talking about a hardcore someone who is absolutely comfortable with who they are. They know they like women. There is a lack of attention to the things that a girl who is trying to attract men do. For instance, girls who are trying to attract men might have earrings or wear makeup a certain way. There are certain women who you look at and you go, oh man, whoa, she is hardcore.
There's certain women that I look at and I say, I have a lot in common with her.
Yeah. Same haircut.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I have a lot in common with her.
Both like girls.
Yeah.
Notably, the study subjects were all college students. Would subjects of the same age who weren't in college, where a student body is made up of a cultural, ethnic, and geographical mix, be able to detect a gay man or woman? Can you detect what's gay about this pic of Rick Santorum? Oh, and then they show a pic of Rick Santorum. Would other subjects guess sexual orientation as accurately? Certainly people weren't always so keen. Nobody picked up on Rock Hudson, but with gay culture barely on the popular radar back then, perhaps gaydar technology was yet to be developed. A big part of the study also involved turning the trimmed black and white photos upside down. the fact that subjects had a harder time distinguishing gay from straight faces when the images were inverted, though they still guessed accurately more than 50% of the time.
No, that's kind of interesting because there's a study that came out about a month ago, and it showed that girls have a much easier time of being able to actually see if you're attracted or if you're attractive with an upside-down picture. Guys can't do it. Like, for some reason, guys can't
We don't work
figure
that
out.
way?
Yeah, guys can't figure out if
Yeah.
a girl's really attractive if, like, the picture's upside down. So, like, that might actually have a little bit to do with it.
I'm looking at an upside down, showing you an example. It's an upside down picture of a guy's face. Just the face, no hair. It's just the face, and it's upside down. And I cannot tell if he's attractive or not. I think I need to. And you know, look, I'm a guy. I can admit when another guy is attractive. Hold on, let me turn it up. No, I don't think so. No, I don't think he's attractive.
It's just so funny. I mean, like, because it did come out really recently, and it shows that, you know, the simplest thing just throws us for a loop. We're just so used to a face being a certain way that we can't do it upside down.
I have said for years and years that I have great gaydar. I can look at someone and I don't know, maybe I don't judge. I don't care. You know, whatever your orientation is. I have plenty of friends who are homosexual. I have plenty of female friends who are gay. I'm not making any judgment, but I'm never shocked when I find out that someone is gay, because most of the time I'm like, yeah, I kind of assumed that. Yeah, I kind of thought that.
Yeah, usually it's more of like a, hey, congratulations, man. You know, like we knew.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
you know,
shocking me.
You're out here, you know, so good.
My gaydar is unimpeachable. I will say that the only time, and it was weird because I knew before I saw him, I always say this about Jagger. Jagger like jammed my gaydar. And it was because I already knew that he was a gay man.
Yeah.
Because when he came out and was on the radio and it was very public, I mean, that was a pretty cool story, I thought. I remember I was in Chicago and I heard that. I was like, wow, that dude's got balls.
Yeah.
That is mad respect for that. That guy is who he is, and he's going to be who he is, and screw the idiots that won't accept him. So I had that respect for him, and I knew he was gay long before I ever saw him. And when I saw him, I was like, I think he got all jammed up because I already knew he was gay, and then he doesn't fit any of the stereotypes of a gay man. I mean, he's big, he's hulking, he wears sports apparel.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't dress particularly well. He's not exceptionally well groomed, although he cleans up nice. I mean, we've all seen him on TV with that weird goatee. He cleans up nice, but I mean, he doesn't carry himself the way one might typically expect a mainstreamed modern gay male too. At least not the Bravo version that we're all used to seeing.
I know many times he would say something or do something that just would throw me for such a loop that I'd be like, are you sure that this isn't some type of stunt? Like, are you
Right.
sure? Yeah.
Just for publicity.
Yeah. And then, like, actually one time I ended up saying that, and he was like, yeah, I came to Dallas and claimed I was gay as a stunt.
All right, it says here, like most scientists, the research won't jump to conclusions as rapidly as the general public will. The study's deductions are drawn exclusively from the photo method used, without assumptions about the unexplored question of whether or not accurate snap judgments occur in real-life settings. In the discussion section, concluding the study, the researchers say, it would appear that minority sexual orientation. Isn't that an antiseptic way of saying gay?
Yeah.
I have never heard homosexuality referred to as minority sexual orientation.
I hope that doesn't take off.
I like it.
You like that?
MSO. I'm of MSO, minority sexual orientation.
But minority. I mean, like, I just don't like the minority thing there. You know what I mean?
But it is minor. Your orientation is the minority.
Yeah, but then you're going to have the people that are, like, freaked out by gay people saying, oh, well, it's not normal. And then they're going to use that as their thing, you know?
Ooh, I always have a problem with that because to say someone is abnormal is wickedly offensive.
Yeah.
So, but in the generic street use of the word normal, it's not normal. Maybe
Right.
it's not consistent. It's an aberration. No, it's not an aberration. But, I mean, see, that's the problem with saying, well, his orientation isn't normal. Well, it doesn't mean he's abnormal because there are connotations to the word abnormal that mean, you know, a negative.
There's a diverse range.
It's pejorative.
I just think that if you're going to say minority, you're still thinking in a black and white world, you know, where you're like, oh, there's a majority and a minority and you're part of the minority. I just think that there's a wide range of things.
But if there are two sexual orientations, one is the dominant and the other would be the minority. I mean, I think it's a sterile way of saying it. I think it's a way of saying it without any judgment, with just facts. It's just the facts being laid out. Because gay has negative connotations. Homo has negative connotations, which I always thought homo was funny. I never understood why because everybody's a homo.
Yeah.
We're all Homo sapiens.
Right.
You know, you're calling someone a homo. We're all homos. What do you mean?
I remember one of it was actually my ex-girlfriend's dad. I said, "Hey, we're all Homo sapiens," and he goes, "Not in this house."
Oh, Jesus. Was this the Oklahoma family?
Yeah.
Oh man, not in this house.
Oh, they were a treat.
Yeah. Do they even refuse to drink homogenized milk? I don't want no homo juice in this house.
Thankfully, I didn't stick around long enough to find out. So yeah.
Homo means one.
Yeah. So there you go.
In non-geek speak, the fact that we may be able to detect whether someone is gay just by looking at his or her face signals a need to increase acceptance. It'd be interesting to conduct a study to see whether intolerance can be recognized on a face or within oneself. I feel pretty strongly that I could just look at someone and tell if they're tolerant or intolerant or not.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do it just by the face, but I might be able to tell by the Jack Daniels belt buckle they got on, or the American flag shirt, or I think there are other. I don't know about being able to tell someone's intolerant by their face.
Yeah, I have a I have a really bad gaydar, but I'm also a really bad judge, just by imagery. If I see like their Facebook pictures, it's going to take, unless they have 1,000 Facebook pictures showing them in all different types of situations, I really won't have a grasp of who they are until I actually get to know them. So like even the gayest of gay people, like the one that I always point out to, as crazy as this sounds, I didn't know that Perez Hilton was gay. I thought that was basically
You have no gaydar.
I remember I saw him on TV one time, and I was like, oh, look at him. He's just playing like some type of act or something, because my sister was there, and she was like, no, he has like one of the biggest blogs on the internet right now. And I was like, oh, let me check this guy out. And I was like, oh, boy, he really is gay. But like, it took me a little while.
Really?
I just figured that was like the new thing. You're going to talk a little bit about, what's going on in Hollywood. You just kind of gay it up a bit,
He is... I mean, there are different classifications of minority sexual orientation. See, I'm going with that now. There are different classifications of minority sexual orientation, and one of those categories, which is the most, it's not the most dominant or the most prominent, but it's the most noticed, is the flamboyant minority sexual orientation person. Perez Hilton's about as flamboyant as it gets.
I know.
He's like Liberace and Jack from Will and Grace all rolled into one.
Well, I think that's what happened, though, is that I saw Jack.
He calls himself the queen of all media.
See, I didn't know that just yet. I saw him on TV, and like I figured he was almost. I'm kind of glad that you brought up Jack, because Jack wasn't actually gay, right? Like in real life. Right? Oh, no, is he? See, I have no gaydar.
Talking about Sean Hayes. The actor Sean Hayes, who, to the best of my knowledge, is not gay.
Okay. Yeah, I have a really hard time with these things. I'll look through and I'll be like, oh, he doesn't seem too bad.
Stop. To the best of my knowledge, he's not gay.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough, yeah.
Let me just tell you, my gaydar is going like a slot machine that just hit the jackpot in Vegas.
Uh-huh.
He's not that good of an actor.
What about the guy that was with Charlie Sheen on the show, 2.5 Men? That guy.
Oh, John Cryer?
Uh-huh. All right. So
but these people, I don't think they're out of the closet. See,
right.
I don't know. Like Sean Hayes is not out of the closet. In fact, I think Sean Hayes had a wife and stuff. But even when he's just on a talk show, he's incredibly. Here's what I'll say. He is lacking in the overtly masculine sensibilities that most straight men have. I'll say that. I won't call him feminine because I think that, again, that's pejorative. But Sean Hayes, to me, does not, Jack from Will and Grace, even when he's in a one-on-one conversation, not acting in an interview or something like that, he comes across as of minority sexual orientation. Dude, that's all I'm going to say from now on. I'm going to force. I love that. So, in John Cryer, you're talking about the guy who. Come on.
Okay. See, that's where
maybe their moms are still alive, and they just can't do that to their mom. You know.
Yeah. That's what's throwing my gaydar off then. Maybe I am automatically...
Dishonesty is throwing your gaydar off.
Yeah, because I'm like, man, that guy seems gay, but he claims not to be, so I'm going to take his word for it. Yeah. And then all of a sudden somebody like Perez Hilton comes in, I'll be like, oh, he must not be gay either.
That's awful.
I know.
I remember, this is where I knew my gaydar. I first discovered my gaydar back in the late 70s, maybe early 80s, while watching the Hollywood Squares with my grandma. Uh-huh. Paul Lynde, who was the center square for years and years on Hollywood Squares, we now know that he was flamboyantly gay. But at the time, nobody was out of the closet.
Not just regular gay. He was flamboyantly gay.
Hello, Paul Lynde. All right, so he was flamboyantly gay on that show. And Liberace was also on this show. He was like in another square. And I remember sitting there watching this with my grandma, and I actually said to my grandma about Paul Lynde. Actually, I made a comment about Liberace too, but it was the Paul Lynde one that got the response from my grandma. I turned to my grandma and I go, what's wrong with him? Like, even as like an 8-year-old kid or something, I knew there was something wrong with him. And my grandma said, this is so funny because I haven't heard this since. And she goes, he's a confirmed bachelor. And I'm like, what is that? What's a confirmed bachelor? I'm 8 years old, Grandma. I don't know what that is. And then my grandma looked at me and went, he's a gay blade. It was the first time I've ever heard that. But the point is, even at that age, I picked up on it. Uh-huh. Like, I knew nothing about sexuality. I had no idea about sexual orientation in general, let alone minority sexual orientation. I had no idea, but yet I was still able to pick up on the fact that Liberace and Paul Lynde had something in common. And it wasn't because Paul Lynde wore a normal suit. Liberace was all decked out in feathers and like a crazy hat. So they did. But I knew that they had something in common, that there was something the same about those two guys that wasn't the same about James Brolin, who was up there with the beard and the macho guy. I knew that there was a difference. And my grandma explained to me about what a gay blade is. Actually, she didn't explain to me what a gay blade is. She just said that and let me, go with it. I had no...
You know what actually threw off? I'm kind of going back through the history of like where my gaydar went completely wrong. I think that also had to do with Ellen. I had the biggest crush on her before she came out.
Really?
Yeah, I loved that show. And all of a sudden she came out. I was like, what? That's what? What just happened?
Dude. She was so androgynous. I mean, in her early stand-up days and all that, she had really short hair and she wore pantsuits and she didn't act like a woman. She was completely androgynous.
Yeah. I don't know.
See, Ellen was another one that I went, yeah, obviously. What are we talking about here? Of course she is. Oh, yep. However, I will tell you the with every rule, and when I say my gaydar is unimpeachable, there's an exception to every rule. And as we're talking about Ellen, Portia de Rossi.
Oh, yeah.
Gaydar does not go off on here. On her. I mean, I think it's really cool that she is because she's
an exception to the rule.
She's an exceptionally beautiful woman.
Yeah. I
mean, just one of the... Portia de Rossi is one of my favorite actresses on the planet. I don't know how familiar you are with her work. She hasn't really done much because now she's with Ellen, and Portia's kind of the wife. She's kind of the house person.
Yeah, I just know her as Ellen's wife.
Portia de Rossi is, and I would love to be friends with Portia de Rossi and Ellen DeGeneres because I love Ellen. I think she is so fun. Ellen would be so fun to be trapped in an elevator with. She just seems like she would be a lot. I love Ellen, and so does the rest of America. And I had already loved Portia de Rossi, so they are like my favorite lesbian couple. I would so love to live next door to them.
Yeah.
And just like, hang out with them and stuff and maybe do barbecues and all that. Portia de Rossi, and this is why it's too bad they can't have kids, because if they did have kids, they would have remarkably funny kids. Yeah. Because in addition to Portia de Rossi breaking the stereotype of that's not what a lesbian looks like, that's also not what a hysterically funny comic actress looks like. Yeah. And Portia de Rossi is an extremely funny comic actress.
Oh, is she?
Oh my God, she played Lindsay Bluth, the eldest daughter on Arrested Development, and she was hysterical as this aging Paris Hilton who is married to David Cross, who is obviously gay. And she does not. Have you started watching Arrested Development?
I have not yet, but I am about to.
Will you get into it this weekend?
Yes, I will. I will be getting into it this weekend.
All right.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, by the way, that's the other one. David Cross. I don't think I mentioned that he was in that. You like David Cross?
I'm not sure. I'll have to. I'm telling you,
Dude, I know you like hip, cool comedy. David Cross is like the leader of the alternative comedy movement. Mr. Show. Did you ever watch Mr. Show?
I think that I actually read a book by David Cross.
Yeah. He wrote a great book, a real funny book.
Which one was it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I do remember reading a book
He's
by
bald,
somebody like
he has
that.
Glasses. His comedy is really mean, but it's really funny.
Yeah. I just remember, I think that I've read it. I haven't seen any of his movies, apparently.
Well,
but
he plays Tobias. He's married to Lindsay. He married into the Bluth fortune, and then the Bluth fortune went away, and he's still living with them. And he wears hot pants around the house. He's an understudy for Blue Man Group, so he's always got blue paint somewhere on him in every scene. It's funny. You got to watch that. All right, transitioning now. Actually, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll get into our douche tournament. There are a couple of big items here in today's douche tournament that I want to get into. A couple of our rights as individuals, as citizens of the greatest country on earth, are being tested, and we need to talk about these, and we need to call out the douches who are doing it. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. It's PMS, the Pugs Moran Show. Jimmy Ryan is with me. It's thebarlive.com. It's thebarlive.com PMS for a Friday afternoon. Oh, it's going to be a nice weekend is on us. It's going to be a night. You got any plans for this weekend, Jimmy Ryan?
Not steadfast ones. I know I got to go over to my sister's for my dad's birthday, but other than that, just probably hopefully finding a pool. I need to find friends who have pools. That's my thing right now.
We got a pool, right? We got a pool.
That is true.
Although, isn't it like it's kind of mossy?
Yeah.
We'll get the pool cleaned.
It has a ways to go.
We'll have a pool party.
Yeah.
I live in an apartment complex, so I have a pool. I love the weekend. I love in a couple of hours I get to pick up my kid. He's at the doctor right now. He's having his 3-year checkup, and then just me and him for the next 72 hours, hanging out, watching sports, throwing around a baseball, teaching him all this stuff. You know, my ex-wife, not the mother of my child. I have 2 ex-wives. Yeah, I just don't even get in a relationship with me. Seriously, I'll save you all the harm. They're both terrific women. I'm an only child. I'll just lay with that. I'm an only child. Okay.
You think you'll be going down that road again?
Marriage?
Yeah.
No.
Given the right circumstances, perfect storm.
Here's the thing. That was sort of just an instant. No, but here's what I know I want. I think, and I was thinking about this last night as I was listening back to the show, because I was listening to the show yesterday, and I made a statement yesterday that said, I've got one and I'm done, and I don't know. I mean, there's parts of me that I might want another one, you know, but I wouldn't want... I'm very concerned about the one I have now and how he is going to feel if I were to get married and if I were to have more children, because his mother is getting married and they'll probably have more children, and he's not going to be like a full member of either family, because he'll be the only one of his brothers or sisters or whatever that don't have... You know what I'm saying?
Balance on one side or the other, right?
So there's a part of me that kind of thinks, you know what? No, me and him to the end. I'm just gonna be completely for him, and I'm gonna let him know that, you know, I won't have any other kids. That's kind of the way I think about it. But I don't know. That evolves. Anyone who says I'm never getting married, well, I guess maybe you just haven't met the right person, because all of that changes when you fall in love.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yep. Doesn't happen too often, but yeah.
So I just love my Friday. Here's the greatest thing that's going to happen tonight. We're going to have dinner. We're going to go for a long dog walk. I'm going to pull him on the wagon around the neighborhood. Then we're going to come inside. He's going to get a bath. We're gonna get in the bubble bath, and he's going to have fun. He's going to splish splash around. Then we're going to get him all dry. We're going to put him in his night clothes, his jammies, and then we're going to sit on the couch together, and we're going to watch Shark Tank.
Nice.
And at some point, he'll fall asleep. He'll probably be playing with blocks and stuff on the TV, in front of the TV while I'm watching Shark Tank. But at some point, usually around Bill Maher, he'll climb up on the couch and he'll fall asleep on my lap. That's the greatest Friday night ever. It's just the greatest thing. And in between there, he'll be pestering me for sips of my beer. I want beer. So I give him the empty bottle, because, you know, it still smells like beer.
Right.
By the way, I should, full disclosure, I drink Natty Lights because they're really cheap, and and they got these small, like, kind of fat little bottles.
Yeah.
So, like, when you pour it into the glass, the empty bottle, you know, it still smells like beer and stuff, and he'll just hold it, and he'll smell it, and he'll be, yeah, that's about it. No beer for you, kid, but he likes the smell, and he likes to feel like, you know, he's hanging out with Dad.
And usually falls asleep by new rules.
You know what? It's because we have a rule. When after 9 o'clock, he's allowed to be on the couch with me, but there is no talking. See, this is what ruined all my marriages, because this isn't just a rule for a little kid. This is a rule for everybody that I'm watching. After 9 o'clock, when I get into my shows, you gotta be quiet. And he tests it. You know, he'll like, you know, get up and start playing, or he'll go over and he'll start banging on the door where the dog is, and he'll be like, I want to play with Blue. And I'm like, it's 9 o'clock. Get on the and then I'll threaten. I'll be like, all right, fine, we're going to bed. You're going to bed, and he'd be like, no, I can be good. And it's just cute. Nobody wants to hear these stories, but he's so cute.
He's going to learn to have a natural hatred for Bill Maher.
Yeah.
He's going to remember those Fridays.
I'm creating an arch-conservative just because of these Friday night rituals.
Yeah.
But I love my weekends. And my friends will text me and stuff. Hey, you out tonight? You know, that's the text you always get. You out tonight?
Yeah.
You hanging? You want to hang? I'm just like, no. Man, no, I don't want it. I'm good. I would much rather be in with my. I don't know. I've changed a little bit, but I think it's a good thing.
Well, I'm a bit like that. Every once in a while, I'll come across a good reason to not go out for a little while, no matter what it may be. And I get those text messages from friends or from whoever may be out and about, like on a Friday or Saturday night. And, like, those excuses turn into the greatest things ever sometimes. Because, like, I do want to keep, like, a simple weekend every once in a while.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I'm like, nah. No, it could be just something really dumb. I mean, like, I know that for a little while there's a game called Minecraft. But, like...
okay, so
yeah.
what? You're having fun.
Yeah.
You're doing what you want.
It felt a little awkward, though, because, like, all my friends are like, go on, man, we're all going out. I'm like, got new things to build in the video game?
yeah. That's why I don't play video games.
Yeah.
Because that would have been me.
Uh-huh.
I tell you what, I got Grand Theft Auto, and I was giving it to for my birthday, for about my 33rd or 34th birthday. And I didn't leave the house except for work for about 10 straight days because I became obsessed with the damn drug dealer and stealing his helicopter. Because someone told me that if you get to a certain point in that game and you acquire certain skills, you can get to the drug dealer's house at the end of Grand Theft Auto and you can steal his helicopter. And that's basically, you know, like the top thing. When other people who play the game, like, have you gotten to the helicopter? Have you gotten to the helicopter? After about 10 days, I got to the helicopter, I stole the helicopter, and I never played the game again.
Are you serious?
I set limits for myself.
Was it all worth it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I accomplished a goal. And it took me 10 days, and it took me probably like 18 hours a day of just sitting there, calluses on my thumbs. You know, your thumb hurts, your hand hurts because you've been gripping that damn Xbox thing.
That's when you know that it's gotten out of control. Like, I know that during like the worst part of my Minecraft days was when because it's a computer game, my right hand, which was using the mouse, was getting tired of holding a mouse. Like, just being in this curved position was now, like, I had to, like, get away from the computer, and if you're watching the video, I would have to put my hand out like that and hold it like that on purpose for a little while, and then I would go right back into it and start playing again. So
the other thing about video games that are dangerous, you know what would be great? They should give video games to prisoners who are going through exceptionally long sentences. Because nothing makes time fly by like playing a video game.
Yeah.
I will sit down at 8 o'clock and start playing. I'm just going to play 2 games. And before I know it, it's 2:30 in the morning. And I'm like, oh my God. You know, you'll be just, 90 minutes while playing a video game goes by like 5 minutes in normal time. You lose all track of it. You get so focused and so into it that the time just flies by. So I often thought that if I was like in prison, that it would be awesome to just play video games for the rest of my life because the time would just fly by. They're not going to... All right, sentence is up. You're being paroled today. Hold on, wait. I'm going to get to the helicopter. Hold on.
rush, really.
Yeah, and you kill your roommate so you can get more time.
Yeah, because you've been fighting over that for a long time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, let's get into some douche tourneys here. This is a daily douche tournament. We talk about things that I think are particularly douchey, and then at the end, we determine which one is the biggest douche of the day. This isn't, okay. I sometimes have these problems with the douche tournament because I don't know how I feel about this. I think I know how I feel about it, but then I start thinking about it and I'm like, well, yeah. Have you heard about this? Fat tax could curb nation's obesity problem. Do you know about this fat tax that is being proposed?
I know in Australia they're talking about doing this. Is this happening here in the U.S. too?
It's happening here. Dateline Indianapolis health experts have been trying to combat obesity in America for years and have recently suggested a new way to solve the growing problem. A new study suggests that imposing a fat tax on unhealthy food and drink could help slim down expanding waistlines. Let's see here. According to reports, more than 60% of Americans are overweight. Under the tax, a $4 cheeseburger would cost an extra 80 cents. Some Hoosiers, because this comes out of Indiana, some Hoosiers found the proposed fat tax hard to swallow. I don't think we should tax people on the way they run their lives, one man said. Others said a fat tax is palatable. Quoting, I'd pay 20%. It's worth it, one woman said. I would eat a lot more healthy just to save more money. Okay, here's the problem. yes, we have an obesity problem. We have, we are an incredibly unhealthy country when it comes to that. I mean, I'm a shining example of that. I'm a good 30, 40 pounds overweight. I'm not ridiculously obese, at least I don't think I am. And we've all seen the people in Walmart that were like, whoa, how did it get so far away from them?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I can still shop at normal stores. And that's, unfortunately, that's like my governor. That's how I know I don't need to go on a diet. I can still wear extra large, you know?
Yeah.
As soon as have you ever gone to like Marshall's or something and looked at the clothes?
Yes.
And you've seen like the XXXXXL stuff and you hold it up and it's like a circus tent?
It's insane. Those are usually the ones that I want from like a distance away, and then I realize that it's for somebody 20 times the size of me. Yeah.
Who are these? Oh my God. I mean, I guess if you get that big, you got to wear clothes. It's preferred that you wear clothes if you get that big. So what do you think about this? The fat tax. Here's my initial problem. The problem is on our government in the food pyramid, and I don't want to get into a whole discussion about the food pyramid. As a matter of fact, if you want to talk about the food pyramid, the guy who's an expert on the government food pyramid is Emil, our buddy Emil Cirillo. He used to do a health and nutrition show, and this was one of his ongoing things. You know the food pyramid that I'm talking about on the sides of food, and it's a U.S. recommended amount, and it shows you what you should have.
Right.
That food pyramid is why we are so unhealthy. Yeah. The United States government has been pushing corn products on us because we make corn in abundance. And it was a way to ensure that America's farmers would still... But basically, corn is a drug. Corn, there is nothing good about corn. It's not even a vegetable. I mean, there are no nutrients. It's why when you eat a bunch of corn and you poop it out, the corn is still in your poop because your body doesn't break it down because it's all garbage. Yeah. It doesn't need anything that's in corn.
It's like, what's this? Oh, never mind.
Corn is just filler. Yeah. It's just stuff to fill you up. And yet we call it a vegetable, and it gets grouped in with green vegetables that are good for you. Corn isn't. Corn has got sugar, and it's just not good for us. In our country, our government, it is our policy that we have been pushing this poison on our school children, on everyone, for one reason and one reason only: to keep the farmers who make the corn, which grows in abundance in this country, in business. That's my problem. Everything has high fructose corn syrup in it. Everything that is even slightly sweet doesn't use real cane sugar anymore. That's why when you buy a product that has real cane sugar, it says it, right? Because it's a big deal, because it's rare. It's why people love that Dublin Dr. Pepper. Yeah. Because years ago, the government went to all of these manufacturers and said, instead of sugar, which we really don't make and we have to import, we could use corn syrup. And everybody switched over to the high fructose corn syrup. And this is why we're so fat, because everything has this garbage in it. And the government is basically saying, it's fine. It's fine. Iowa will thank you.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm sorry. I mean, why is there a double standard here? It's like everybody had a problem with bailing out the American auto industry, but it doesn't seem like anybody has a problem with stopping these ridiculous corn subsidies. I mean, I'm sorry, but the American farmer needs to find something better to grow. They're growing poison, and our government and our tax dollars are going to subsidize this poison. And this is why we're so fat. So don't tax a hamburger. Stop this ridiculous policy of force-feeding us high fructose corn syrup. That's why we're fat. But the government won't do that because now we're going to have problems in the heartland. Well, you know what? God bless you, farmers. You're a very important part of we're a very important part of our economy. But you got to grow something else. You got to grow some soy products, grow some greens, grow something.
Yeah, do something that we actually really do need.
That will better us.
Yeah.
And force the government to reimagine that food pyramid and get all of that crap out of there.
Well, now they moved to a new version called the food plate, which I've heard that it's not, any better really.
Well, no, because we still have these
Yeah.
infernal corn subsidies.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not too much better. And then you get to an actual nutritionist, and they'll actually show you what parts of the plate are what you really need, and then the other ones are just filler.
Here's the other
But-
reason why I have a problem with this this fat tax.
Mm-hmm.
Because most fat people, you know who they are? They're lower income people.
Right.
Because corn syrup, high fructose products are cheaper, and it's all you can afford. Do you know what's really expensive? Fresh green beans are really expensive.
Organic.
Or fresh vegetables
Yeah.
are very expensive. And here's the other thing, they go bad. So you throw them out because if you don't eat all the banana, how many times do you have a black banana on your countertop because you just couldn't eat 6 in a week?
Creepiest thing I've probably ever seen in my kitchen, I didn't know that they did this, was a potato growing roots. Have you seen that?
Well, yeah. Did you make potato plants in school?
No.
Everybody had a little potato garden in school. They grow buds.
Yeah, these are the small little things that make me show how disconnected from nature we are. I saw a potato growing roots like about 2 months ago, and I was freaking out. I was like, what is this thing doing on my refrigerator?
What is this? This thing is living. It's turning into like some kind of organism.
Yeah, this is no good.
Yeah, I thought it was dead when I brought it into my house. All right, so that's really my problem. That's why I think that these fat tax ideas are just, I understand the idea behind them, but we're not addressing the real problem. We're just passing a problem on to our lowest income people who are going to be most affected by the fat tax. Because you know what? You know what's easy to do and what's affordable to do is to eat at the McDonald's drive-through dollar window every single day. I can eat a full-on meal for $3 and I will be full as it goes. I can get 2 McChicken sandwiches and a McDouble cheeseburger for $3.
Yeah.
And I'm poisoning myself, and I know that, but I can't afford to go buy fresh chicken breast at the store. I can't afford to have some greens around that. This is the problem.
It's how I live. And that's one of the reasons why
Jack in the Box 99-cent tacos, 2
Yeah.
for 99 cents. Fantastic.
Yeah, it's not just good when you're drunk.
No, no, it's good when you're trying to survive.
Yeah. But I have to say I'm a little bit pro this. Because it would drive me out, especially in certain things. Things like energy drinks. I love energy drinks. But the reason why I ended up stopping smoking cigarettes is because they got a little bit too expensive for me to do. One of the greatest decisions I ever did was quitting smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
So if energy drinks were all of a sudden $5, I would not be interested in drinking an energy drink, which would help everybody.
I can't drink energy drinks anymore. They're too expensive.
Yeah. So if you price certain things out, to where they really do just become a snack, they should be priced as snacks,
Right. Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that. And I know I usually do not go down this road where everyone's kind of inflating prices based on how bad they are for you. But, in my situation, I'm the exact person that people don't want to get sick because I don't have health care. So I'm going to end up going into the emergency room. They're going to have to lob off one of my legs because I have diabetes now.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to pay for it.
Right.
You're going to have to pay for that.
And it's because you've been eating government-sanctioned high fructose corn syrup for the
Right.
last 30 years of your life.
Yeah. So I think that there's definitely between, making sure that you go back, find out where you started going wrong, get rid of that stuff, and do the taxes on things that we really shouldn't be doing. I would love to see people walking around drinking water more often. Just doesn't happen. Everybody's drinking a soda. So
we were talking about the corn industry, and this is what I don't understand. Maybe it doesn't work. I'm not a scientist. I don't know enough about the background. But I was reading a story a year ago, and it talked about Des Moines, Iowa. And places to live and how you should, if you want to buy property, you should buy property in Des Moines, Iowa now, because the prediction was that in 20 years, Des Moines, Iowa is going to be a major American city. It is going to grow and expand and become bigger and bigger and bigger.
Wow.
Because they're the alternative fuels in this, the corn gas, which is what I forgot what's that called?
ethanol.
Yeah, they're trying to get these ethanol things through because then now we got a good thing that we're going to do with corn. If that will work, if we can power our cars with ethanol, then we can be putting that poison in our engines and not in our body engines. And maybe then, but the prediction was that when ethanol takes off, Des Moines is going to explode. It's going to become the hub of this entire new industry, and it's going to become a major American city.
Wow.
So, we should focus on that stuff. All right, so that's douche one. The government who refuses to take responsibility for the obesity issue that we're all all facing now here in America. Here's number 2, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the headline. Maryland cops giving $1 to drivers with seatbelts. Okay.
Oh.
Now, I've read the whole story, but I'm going to tell you what sets me off about this.
Mm-hmm.
Maryland cops are going to be giving drivers $1 if they're seen with a seatbelt. Why are you detaining me?
Yeah.
How are you going to give me that dollar? Are you going to send it in the mail? You're going to take a picture with one of the overhead cameras? That's fine. But if you're telling me that you're going to have these random stop checkpoints where you're going to be delaying me, I've done nothing wrong, and then when I have the seatbelt, you're going to give me $1? What am I, 5 years old? Pick up the toys in your room and you'll get $1. It's $1? You're going to are you stopping me for something? Am I driving down the road and I look and I see lights and now I got to pull over and the cop's going to go, hey, I wanted to give you $1 because you had your seatbelt on? No.
I saw a story of them doing this in one of these small cities right outside of Dallas. They were doing this exact same thing. Apparently, the sheriff got some type of big bonus for the entire crew. And instead, they decided that what they were going to do is do this, where they would stop people and say, thanks for not speeding. Here's $1.
No, don't stop me.
Yeah.
Don't stop me.
Pretty presumptuous for you to think that I'm worth $1 for this 10 minutes that you're going to pull me over for
I don't
or
want
whatever.
your dollar.
Yeah.
I don't want your dollar. Please, I want. You know what's worth not having that $1? Not having that mild heart attack when I look in my rearview mirror and see the rollers going behind me.
Yeah.
It's, oh crap! What did I do? Don't stop me. Don't use your position as local law enforcement to detain me to say good job. Leave me alone. Leave me. If I haven't done anything wrong, I don't want to talk to a cop. I don't. And this is I'm very pro law enforcement, but leave me alone. Why would you do this?
Yeah, and this is happening more and more often. I don't know if you've been aware of this, but in downtown Dallas, if you go, there's a place right near Dallas called Deep Ellum. It's right there. If you go to Deep Ellum on a Saturday night, there's a 50-50 chance that they'll do a roadblock right there on Main Street, and everybody that goes up and down that street gets stopped. And basically,
I don't like that.
No.
I don't like that.
I know, and that is becoming the norm now. It's literally, this is the reason why I don't like driving. I don't like driving because, one, I have a very bad habit of going too fast, which usually has cost me way too much money since I turned 16. But then also the fact that everywhere you go, there's going to be exponentially worse in the future. Road stops, blocks, get pulled over. I mean, it's crazy.
It's like they're saying that the violation of my civil rights is worth $1. My civil rights as Americans say that I can't be harassed, that I will not be harassed by overzealous authorities. But what you're saying is, it's okay because we're giving them $1. Stick your dollar somewhere. Don't leave me alone. Bowie, Maryland. Some police officers in Maryland will be out Thursday giving cash to drivers wearing their seatbelts. But beware, they may give you a ticket if you don't. Prince George's County Police will be at Route 301 and Ballpark Drive in Bowie starting at noon watching passing vehicles. Officers and safety advocates will distribute $1 bills to drivers who have all occupants properly buckled in. Those riding without seatbelts will get educational materials and face a fine. A local bank and the police department are sponsoring the giveaway. You're going to pull people over to give them $1.
Yeah.
Keep your dollar, leave me alone. Keep your dollar, don't interrupt my day. Don't scare me.
And something tells me that the police officer isn't going to come up to your window and go, oh, here you go, and walk away. He's going to get your ID. He's going to ask you for your license and registration.
He's going to make you twist a little.
Yeah, he's going to go back to his car. He's going to run you for any warrants you may have.
You know your back brake light is cracked. You know?
It's insane.
Yeah, it is. All right, here we go. Here is another one. This is another. Here, oh, boy. Hold on. Wait, let me try and find this one. This is the third in today's Friday edition of our douche tournament. This concerns the Secretary of State of. All right, it's something wacky being done. It's the Secretary of State of a state here in America. Would you care to guess what state? I will give you two choices because there are really only two states, and we've talked about this.
Yeah, Arizona?
It is. The Secretary of State of Arizona, a guy by the name of Ken Bennett, who, by the way, is a conservative Republican, Tea Party type guy who has eyes on the governor's mansion there in Arizona. Arizona Secretary of State Ken Bennett is threatening to keep Barack Obama's name off the state's ballot in the November election unless he receives confirmation from Hawaii that he has a valid birth certificate.
Wow. That's amazing.
I thought this was over a year ago. Even the most ardent birther groups broke up, and the spokespeople stopped speaking about it. Would you stop? You're going to keep it. You want to talk about justice in the American way being hijacked by people with agendas. That is exactly what this is. Come on. Bennett, who spoke to the Arizona. And by the way, here's what I like. All of these guys, because we've had a number of these in the last couple of days, and I'm certain that we'll hear more and more of them as we get closer to the election, and people are looking for any reason whatsoever to freak potential voters out and against voting for this guy, which, I don't care. Vote your heart. Vote what you want, but don't let these idiots... Don't let these people with obvious agendas and party affiliations sway you with ridiculousness. This guy, Bennett, who spoke to Arizona radio host Mike Broomhead Thursday, said he requested the confirmation 8 weeks ago and has not gotten it. Hawaii, he said, does not have to supply a certified copy of the birth certificate. Merely send him an email confirming that it has one. Did he not see the news conference a year ago with the governor of the state of Hawaii, both Hawaii senators and the administrator of the hospital where he was born, all saying this is a real birth certificate? This is what it looked like back then. This is what you got if you were born in Hawaii in 1962. They all did it last year. And now these guys who keep fanning this flame, they are such cowards because every single one of them says the same thing. I want to see his birth certificate or else I'm going to keep him off the ballot in November. No, I want to state that I personally believe that he was born here.
Right.
But they are all hedging their bets with this cowardly hide where they're all, I personally believe, but we need to see a birth certificate. We saw the birth certificate. Move on.
Yeah.
Move on.
And they do. They all
You're
do
making
that.
America dumber.
Yeah. Well, and the unfortunate thing is that I was going to say don't let anybody with an agenda tell you how to vote. But unfortunately, not very many people want to go out there and find things out on their own.
No. They want
from people that don't have agendas.
They want to listen to the conservative media, and they want to. And by the way, it is a conservative media because most people get their news from talk radio, and there is nothing but conservative talk radio and sports out there. So stop saying that there is a liberal media. Yes, I imagine that the actors on Modern Family are probably Democrats or liberals or progressives, but you know what? They don't put that in their show. There is no, well, I guess some would say they do because they've got a gay couple on that show. But what I'm saying is the actual media that portrays itself as people who give information and offer opinions on things, it's all conservative. It is all conservative. Every talk radio host in America is conservative today, or he's doing stats. He's a sports guy. There is no room for anybody who is in the moderate middle, as most of us are. And that's where people get their information from. And you got to remember, most of these guys are acting. I told this story yesterday. I have a friend in Georgia, an old friend of mine from Chicago radio days, who is having amazing success as a conservative talk show host. He's enjoying the best lifestyle that he's ever had. He used to be a rock jock before that. And you know what he was before that? He was the weed dealer at the station that I worked at, and now he's a family values guy. He will tell you, well, no, he won't tell you, but he will tell me because we're buddies. He's playing an act because he knows his audience is stupid, and he knows what the audience wants to hear. The audience wants to hear lies. The audience wants to hear their uninformed positions be bolstered by somebody that they give credibility to because he's on the radio. So he is pandering to what the audience wants. The audience doesn't read the newspaper. They listen to him to read the newspaper. And he knows what they want to read in the newspaper because he's a good broadcaster and he understands his audience. So he spoon feeds them exactly what they want. And they go, see, he's right. I don't think he's born in America either. This is what's happening. This is not news. This is conservative. I hate it. I hate it. I don't want to get this worked up. But that's what happened. And I love this guy, and I won't say his name. I won't out him because you know what my hope is for him? I hope that he becomes one of the biggest conservative voices in America, and then I'm going to write a book outing him. God is my witness, and I have told him this. I have said, dude, I want you syndicated on 250 markets because then I'm going to get a book deal talking about how you used to sell me weed.
The real story.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm going to, he's like, by that point, well, I'll be fat, rich, and happy. I go, yeah, we will. But you are poisoning. I mean,
It's a lot like what Glenn Beck did. I mean, he was basically on if you're
he was
in
a
this
wacky
local
morning
area.
zookeeper in Cleveland. He was doing crazy. Hey, let's have some strippers in here, and he was doing crazy over the top shock jock stuff. And then he completely changed his act because he understood that these blue hairs were the only people listening to talk radio.
Yeah.
Talk radio hosts make more money than music jocks. He wanted to make more money, so Glenn Beck segued into talk radio and completely changed his act.
Yeah.
Rush Limbaugh was a long hair hippie.
Was he?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. He was a total hippie.
Uh-huh.
And then he went to Sacramento, and he was kind of a shock jock at first. And then he started to drift, and he started to realize that when he took crazy, almost fascist stances on things, that the phone lines lit up, and that was the birth of it. Rush Limbaugh tapped into that thing, and he ran with it. Now, I believe that Rush Limbaugh, as of today, believes his own hype. I think that he has bought into himself. But let's not forget, this is a guy that was buying unknown amounts of drugs on a consistent basis from his maid. And then when his maid got busted, he lawyered up and let her take the fall. This is a guy who did so many drugs. By the way, hillbilly heroin, by the way, is the Rush Limbaugh drug of choice. He's an oxy head, just like all of these dirtbag Hollywood rock stars. An oxy head is what Rush Limbaugh is. He did so much of it, he went deaf. You remember when he went deaf? That was because of the extraordinary amounts of drugs that he was doing. He screwed himself up. So this is your leader. This is the guy. This is the family values guy. The guy who's been married 4 times, who's been in trouble for, buying drugs, illegal drugs, Oxycontin, hillbilly heroin from his maid. He's also the guy who got caught bringing in a whole bunch of drugs, illegal drugs, into this country on his private jet from Mexico. But nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to believe that because Rushbo is a family values guy. It's all a shell game, folks. There are so few people out there who are honestly just telling you what they feel, because when you tell people honestly how you feel, you get marginalized and you get shouted down by the mob mentality. There is no room in broadcast radio, talk or otherwise, for someone with independent thought, for someone who's going to be honest with you about what they think. It's all a shell game. Don't forget that.
Have you ever done Oxycontin?
No.
I did it one time, and I got to tell you.
Is it a painkiller?
Yeah, it's a crazy strong painkiller.
It's relatively new. When I was experimenting and trying things, it wasn't around, so I wouldn't do that anymore. I know what I like. We'll put it that way.
I did it
and
one
I hate
time.
pills. I hate pills.
Oh, I do too. I can't stand them. But
I personally can't do pills of any kind. Actually, I can do Valium. I like Valium. That's the only thing that I can do. But painkiller, the party pills that everybody wants to do.
Right.
I get ridiculously itchy. I have a bad reaction to it where I feel like my body is covered in ants and I can't handle it. Sorry, Jimmy, go ahead.
No, the only thing that I really remember from taking that one thing was that I was completely, it was almost like paralyzing, just how you could and you don't even notice it. No one needs to be that immune to everything, and he's taking tons of these things.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how bad things have gotten for this guy, that he has to take so many of these things. I took one, and it changed my entire world.
Really?
And I was like, I'm never taking one of these things again.
What did I take once? I once took something that was so awful that I started. It was a pill, and it was a painkiller pill. Man, I can't think of it. It was a real hardcore. What's like a hard morphine?
Hydrocodone?
Morphine.
Oh, okay.
It was like a morphine pill.
Wow.
And I took it, and I went and watched TV or whatever. Within 15 minutes, I was vomiting all over. That's why I mean that's heroin. That's the same thing that's in heroin. So that is not anything that I like. And there are people who are addicted to that.
Yeah.
What makes you take another after you vomit and have this horrible experience? What I don't understand it.
Yeah, I knew that. I took it that one time because it was one of my friends had one of them, and I was actually like in a lot of pain at the time, and so I was waiting for like a dentist appointment. So I ended up taking it, and even though it got rid of the pain, I will never forget how bad that was. Just like that entire night.
I'd rather have the pain than be sick to my stomach.
Yeah. So like, and then it was shortly thereafter that I ended up hearing about Rush Limbaugh and his taking handfuls of these things, and I was just blown away.
Oh yeah, he was buying. All that information is sealed. We'll never know exactly how much we're talking about there because he's got a great lawyer, and guess who didn't have a great lawyer? His maid.
Yeah, it turns out.
Yeah, and he didn't do anything, at least that we know publicly or have heard privately, to protect the woman that he set up to take the fall. Rush Limbaugh, the guy who famously thinks that all drug addicts need to be locked up in prison, is in fact himself a drug addict. All right, so let's get our douche tournament here. Who are we talking about? We've got, the first one was the United States government, who is attempting to put a fat tax on food, on junk food. They want to make like basically a $4 hamburger now costs $4.80 because they think it will save the Americans from ourselves. The obesity problem is rampant. I say you're just blaming poor people who eat fast food for this kind of thing, when in reality, it is our own government policy with corn subsidies and high fructose corn syrup that is causing everyone to be fat. That's one. Number two is Maryland police stopping people for no other reason than to say, congratulations, you've got your seatbelt on, here's $1 for you. And number three, Arizona Secretary of State Ken Bennett, who although he personally believes Barack Obama was born in this country, refuses to allow his name on the November ballot in the state of Arizona until Hawaii sends him an email that says, yeah, he was born here. Jimmy Ryan, who do you like for today's douche?
We talk about Arizona a lot, and it does concern me, that state, but I'm hoping that we can get, maybe a wall up around it soon enough, and we can just kind of laugh about the decisions that they're making inside of those walls. But I think that today I have to go with the police.
The police in Maryland.
Stopping people.
Yep.
I have a feeling that they wouldn't take to somebody yelling out the window as they get pulled over, I don't need the $1, thanks, and driving away. I don't think that they would take to that too well. And
just crumple the $1 up and throw it out the window, and then you get a $50 fine for littering.
Yeah.
All right, so you're gonna go with the Maryland police, who have decided they're gonna pull people over in conjunction with a local bank. They're gonna pull people over and they're gonna give them $1, detain them briefly to say, congratulations, here's $1. It's a good one. I'm gonna go ahead and throw out the food pyramid story, or the story about fat tax, because that's a very complicated story, and really that example of douchery isn't the real problem. The real problem is an attached issue, which is our overall policy towards corn subsidies.
Where they aren't thinking far enough down the path, right?
They're passing the blame on people who eat junk food simply because other fresh, good-for-you foods are not economically viable to a lot of people. Green beans, vegetables, all of that stuff are expensive. So we'll get rid of that one. So for me, it comes down to the Arizona Secretary of State, Ken Bennett, who's threatening to keep Obama off the ballot until Hawaii sends him an email saying, yes, he was born here, and the cops who are detaining you. This is a hard one, because Arizona Secretary of State Ken Bennett is without a doubt a douche for going on the radio and saying this. But you're right. There is more of a civil liberties issue, an overstepping of authorities' boundaries in this. I'm going to pull you over to give you $1 to say thank you. So I'm agreeing with you. Okay, there we go. Today's douche of the day will absolutely be the Maryland State Police and the bank who is banking on this, or rolling this. What's that called? Fronting this effort to get people to buckle up.
Congratulations, Maryland.
And again, I wear my seatbelt because I have been in a car accident. I'll let you all see. I noticed on the video, my scar is very pronounced on the video when I watch it back here. I took the top of my head off in a car accident because I wasn't wearing my seatbelt. I wear my seatbelt now because, well, I've had the top of my head taken off because I know what it's like to be thrown through a windshield. I've been there. I've been thrown through a windshield, and I ended up on the hood of the car, pulled myself back out through, cutting myself up horribly because I was in shock and I didn't even notice. So that's why I wear my seatbelt. But I don't think you ought to force people to wear their seatbelts. I really don't.
No.
I think you can't force people to be smart.
It's the same thing that I had a problem with. I didn't realize that it was illegal. Not just, against some type of moral code, but illegal to ride your bicycle around downtown without a helmet on.
It is.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was riding a bike around downtown, and a couple cops on bicycles stopped me, literally right in front of me, just stop, and they're like, "Hey, you do know that you need a helmet on, right?" And I was like, "What? Where are we?"
Yeah. What kind of helmet? Could I be wearing a World War II pith helmet or something like that? What you're gonna now? You can't do that. And I also don't believe in helmet laws for motorcycles.
No, because
So wait a second. So you can ride because there isn't a helmet law here in Texas. You're not required to wear a helmet.
Oh, see, I've even heard that there is now. That there's a helmet law for I don't know that there is.
I didn't think there was because I just see so many people on motorcycles without helmets. I didn't know that there was a helmet law.
Yeah. I know that as I was riding around that day, I saw a lot of people riding around on their bicycles without helmets. But
Kelly Miss Sunbrew, our girl that was in here the other day, she rides her, but she says she doesn't wear a helmet.
Yeah.
So or she's just banging on the fact that no cop's going to pull over a super hot chick on a Harley.
Yeah.
Maybe rules don't apply.
It's a good thing to bank on.
To the super hot.
Yeah.
All right. You want to do a little bit of TV talk for tonight?
Yeah.
All right. By the way, did you watch anything last night? Did you watch the Community Palooza that was on NBC?
I didn't. Well, I want to catch up to that because I want to, kind of build up to that. But no, I didn't watch any TV yesterday except for The Daily Show. I watched The Daily Show.
Oh, who was the guest?
You know what? I can't even remember who it was. I was half-assing watching it. I got it legitimately on the internet, and then I was watching it as I was just browsing the internet. So
there was a good Daily Show last week. Sometime they had Sacha Baron Cohen was on. Did you see that one?
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, see that one. It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
He was on not as Sacha Baron Cohen. He was on as Admiral General Abedin from the movie. And he was in full dress. And he had two, smoking hot girls with him who were dressed in fatigues. And they had M16s. And the first thing he did that I thought was really funny was he sat down at the desk across from Jon Stewart. And he pulled out this big gold handgun, a gold emblazoned handgun. He pulled it out and he put it right on the desk next to him and he goes, "Go ahead, ask me anything." It was funny. I still like Sacha Baron Cohen and I want to see this movie. Are you going to see this movie, The Dictator?
I will as soon as it comes out on DVD or something like that. The one thing I usually can't watch movies, but one thing I definitely can't do is go to the theater. That is the worst experience I can honestly think of is going to a theater. And it also goes into places I went to the Bass Performance Hall to go see George Carlin, which was something that I had been looking forward to for over 10 years. Yeah. Finally going to see Carlin. And I ended up going there. I had a seat kind of in the middle of what would you describe? Is that an atrium style thing, Bass Performance Hall?
You know, I've never been to the Bass.
Okay.
Never been there. I hear it's beautiful, but I've never been there.
It is very nice, but the seats are very, closed in on each other. I'm in the middle of this massive set of people, and midway through Carlin's show, I had to get up, excuse myself, and go out into the lobby because I just could not stand being in that area any longer. So I ended up watching it on the screen out in the lobby. The rest of it, yeah.
Could have waited 6 months and watched it on HBO.
I know, and that's where I've gotten now. I don't even worry about when movies come out in theaters. Once they're, available on DVD, I'll watch them.
Yeah, and they come out on demand or on DVD so quickly now.
Yeah, and especially on the Pirate Bay.
Oh yeah, see, I don't do all that stuff. I don't know anything about that stuff, but who knows? All right, let's see here. Oh my goodness. Oh, this is bad news for me and bad news for anybody who loves Friday night television. Apparently Shark Tank ain't on tonight. Oh, that ruins my night. That is the worst.
What would cause that? Are they done with the season or?
I guess. It's Who Do You Think You Are is on at 7 o'clock, where Shark Tank normally would be. Or no, I'm sorry. What Would You Do? The show that Brandon is demanding that I watch tonight to see if I would kill a black kid in one of the scenarios. That's on at 7, followed by... wait a second. Hold on. Wait. I'm sorry. At 8 o'clock on ABC is What Would You Do? Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that's usually on at 8 o'clock on ABC. What is... Oh, never mind. Boom, I was wrong. I was looking at it wrong. Shark Tank. Shark Tank is on. It is the season finale. It is brand new. My night has been saved. We're very good. It's Shark Tank into What Would You Do, into Bill Maher, into a recorded Ultimate Fighter, which is this is how I'll just do it. I'll just tell you what I watch on Fridays, okay? Because Friday is a very, very busy night. Here's what I got. And it's busy year round because sometimes Portlandia is on IFC. You ever watch Portlandia? Oh, Jesus, dude. Oh, man. God, you're so...
I know. I would have a hard time telling you what shows I do watch.
Battlestar Galactica used to be on Friday, so that's when my because growing up Friday sucked. And then when I'm gonna watch Urkel, it's like a Family Man. I don't care about that.
TGIF.
No. What was a show with the witch and the talking cat? Sabrina? No.
Sabrina's the Teenage Witch.
I'm not watching that crap.
I had the biggest crush on her.
Yeah, she was really cute. She was really cute. I first started to discover Friday nights. Rediscover Friday night television about 7 years ago or so, 5 years ago, when I discovered that, hey, this is the night that Battlestar Galactica is on, and that was not a show that I wanted to watch recorded. For some weird reason, it's like I had to watch it in real time as it was airing with all the other Battlestar Galactica geeks out there.
Yeah.
And then I remember it was so weird. Like we'd go out and stuff, and there were certain people. Like it was such a small club of Battlestar people. Like I'd be at a bar, and like my friend Robbie, who was a bartender at this place that I used to go, I'd be up to the bar, and he'd come over, and he'd like, did you watch BSG? I go, yeah. He's like, dude, I got it recorded. I can't wait for this one. I'm like, yeah. And you wouldn't want to say it because everybody thinks you're a geek. Because, everybody thinks of the Lauren Green Battlestar. But that's how my Friday nights used to start. That's how I got reintroduced to Friday nights. Now, I will say that when I was very little, Friday nights were a big night for me because it was Fantasy Island night. Woo! Fantasy Island. I'd wait all week for Fantasy Island. So tonight, here's what I'm going to watch, okay? My picks to click, 7 o'clock on ABC, Shark Tank. It is the season finale. 8 o'clock on ABC, What Would You Do?
Speaking of which, I actually have a friend that's going to be going on Shark Tank.
Get out of here!
Yeah, he's got a glasses company that he's trying to pitch on there, apparently. So,
well, what's unique about it?
He calls them ridiculous lenses, and it's basically more for like the EDM.
Why doesn't he call them ridiculous lenses?
That's what it is. Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, like basically, he caters to like kind of like an EDM crowd because they like if you go to like EDM shows, they always have like
I don't know what EDM is.
Like electronic dance, dubstep is included in that, and like all that stuff. Yeah, so like there's a really good market for it. He just started doing it, and he's doing really well. And apparently, he ended up getting a couple calls back on doing Shark Tank. I'm not sure when, but he's like in the running to be on the show. So.
I would love to be on that show.
Yeah.
I would love to be on the show, but the problem with that show is, I don't know if you watch Shark Tank. Basically, the premise of the show is that there are sharks. These are business sharks, financial sharks, angel investors, if you will. They get I think there's like 5 of them. And they sit there in their big leather chairs. Mark Cuban is one of them. The rest, they're all extremely accomplished businessmen. Mm-hmm. And you walk into the room and you pitch them, these millionaire guys, these billionaire guys, you pitch them on your product and basically invest in this product. Take me, your business expertise and my creation here will make millions. That's basically it. But the problem with that show now is they always want to know about sales. These are always already semi-established companies now.
Right.
Like a guy will come out and it'll be like, for instance, last week one of the guys on was Billy Blanks Jr. You remember Billy Blanks, the guy who invented Tybo, who was on all of those infomercials and all that?
Yeah.
His kid was on pitching his exercise thing called Dance With Me or something. It was dance and it was an exercise workout. That's not fair. He's Billy Blanks Jr. He doesn't need the help of sharks. His father is one of the most successful men in the health and fitness genre that there could be. Yeah. And he's like, well, we've got over 100,000 in sales. It should be people who don't have any sales, who have a great product and have a prototype and can show the prototype. I don't like that it seems to be people who are already kind of doing okay and now need to be taken to the next level.
Yeah, I'd rather see people go up there and say, hey, look, I'm struggling, but I'm trying to take this thing to market. It has a lot of potential, and I need one of you guys to invest.
Do you know what I do? I specifically will go out of my way to look for products that I saw on Shark Tank. I've yet to buy one because I haven't, but if there was, I will buy, because they have some of the coolest things. I mean, it's an exciting show because they'll unveil this thing and you're either like, that'll never work, I wouldn't want that, or it's like, oh my God, that's totally awesome. For instance, a good case in point, a couple of weeks ago, this like stay-at-home mom, and I totally understand this because I have a kid, but sippy cups. Sippy cups are a pain in the ass. They're always leaking. They always spill. The tops always come off. She invented this sippy cup that sort of rotates, and it has two handles so the kid can hold on to it better. And so no matter how the kid is holding it, because a kid will say this is a cup and it's got to be held up like this.
Right.
A kid will carry it like this.
Yeah.
And, stuff is leaking out and it's going all over. She created this sippy cup that no matter how the kid is holding it, it's like almost inside a sphere. It will always turn back upright. So it's never going to spill. I was like, that is genius. And I've been looking for these sippy cups, but I don't think they've come to market yet. And of course, all the sharks always act like dicks in the beginning, like, that's stupid. And then it comes down to the end and they're all bidding against each other.
Fighting each other off.
Yeah, because they all know that that's a brilliant idea. And that was a brilliant idea. I really like the show. Okay, so Shark Tank at 7 o'clock on ABC. Then we go with What Would You Do at 8 o'clock on ABC. Then at 9 o'clock, you can switch over if you don't have a DVR, and you can watch The Ultimate Fighter on Spike TV. We're getting down to the semifinals now. Live MMA fights. Live guys trying to fight their way into the UFC on Spike TV tonight at 9 o'clock. And then at 10 o'clock, I always round out the night with a little Bill Maher. Jimmy, anything that you look forward to on Fridays?
Bill Maher usually is one of them. I'll usually end up catching it throughout the weekend or something, But yeah, that's basically one of the only cornerstones of my TV watching usually is Bill Maher. Bill Maher and The Daily Show. And
did you watch Colbert?
CNN. Sometimes I'll watch Colbert.
But you watch The Daily Show more?
Yeah.
Me too. Me too. You know why? Here's the difference. And I know people love Colbert, and I love Colbert. I think Stephen Colbert is very funny.
Yeah.
The Daily Show is still rooted in reality. It's funny and all that. The Colbert Report, he is completely playing an over-the-top character, and it does. Right. The Daily Show, sometimes I watch that and I think, oh, I didn't know that, and then I'll go look up a story that he talked about. You can't do that really with the Colbert Report.
Yeah, you're still learning things on the Daily Show, which is one of the things that I think people are still blown away by.
In all fairness, you're learning things siphoned through a progressive agenda. I mean, it's no different than learning things listening to Rush Limbaugh, but I find it interesting, and I find Jon Stewart endlessly more entertaining than a Rush Limbaugh or a Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah.
So, we'll go with that. All right, nothing else on today. I'm quickly scanning. I remember I saw something this morning while I was looking on, to see what was on TV today. MSNBC on weekends. Why are you preparing us all for life in prison?
I was about to say, I thought that there was
MSNBC do that?
Yeah, I was about to ask you, did they finally get rid of the prison documentaries where it's just nonstop? This is what it is. Yeah.
Who watches that crap? That's awful.
Yeah.
That's terrible programming.
It's the people that want to go there that watch those shows. It really is.
It's all night long on the weekends. It's nothing on MSNBC except prison, lock up Stateville, lock up Lompoc, lock up Brownsville. It's like I don't care. I don't want to watch people in prison. You know what? About 10 years ago I saw one and I thought, wow, that was interesting. And then now I've got 50. I don't want to see what life is like. I get it. Prison sucks.
I think that it's almost like a sad reality of, we have the highest percentage of population in prison here in the States, much worse than any other country. And, maybe that's just MSNBC's way of saying, hey, welcome back. If you want to just watch this and feel comfortable.
Yeah. As you assimilate back into society.
Yeah.
Here, a little touch of home. What you've experienced for the last 4 years or 5 years or however long you've been away.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm scrolling quickly to try and find HBO. I want to give you the lineup for tonight's Bill Maher show, if in fact it even is a new Bill Maher show.
Oh, okay.
I like his show because I love conversation. And I love, but I would like him to have more. I would like him to be a little bit more middle of the road. I'd like to see more credible conservatives on that show. And there are credible conservatives out there. It just, sometimes that show seems to drift so far left and so far progressive, it makes me uncomfortable the way MSNBC makes me uncomfortable.
The thing that I hate most about Bill Maher's show is this part. The audience.
The audience is it's like being at a Glenn Beck live show.
Yeah.
There's no difference.
Oh, it's the worst.
The audience is so completely. Oh wait, there's a new show on HBO today. I've heard about this. Let me see here. HBO tonight, 7:30 to 8 o'clock. The Fight Game with Jim Lampley. Oh, you know what? I forgot. I won't watch that. Jim Lampley is the voice of HBO boxing, and he's got a new show on about boxing. I won't watch that show because I'm boycotting Jim Lampley.
The new Ricky Gervais show. That's another show that I'm watching.
That's on tonight.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I believe that's on. That's on Friday nights before or after Bill Maher.
Oh wow, okay.
Well, let me pull this up. Don't you want to know why?
Speaking of which,
don't you want to know why I'm boycotting Jim Lampley? You're just gonna float that out there. You're not gonna say why are you boycotting Jim Lampley?
No, why are you boycotting Jim Lampley?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No, I'm boycotting him because he's a voice of boxing. And he has been, every time he's asked about MMA, he gives it no respect. And I heard him say one of the stupidest things. He made a comparison to skills. He said, there is no way that any of these supposed MMA champions could last 5 minutes with one of these boxers. And that's just really ignorant to say. Because the fact of the matter is if you took an MMA fighter and you put him in a boxing ring and you had to hold him to the rules of boxing, of course he would lose. Of course, because he's not a boxer. Boxing is one discipline. Mixed martial arts is multiple disciplines. You put the best boxer on the planet and lock the cage behind him and put him up against a run-of-the-mill UFC fighter, and that boxer is going to get his ass handed to him. He's going to get crushed. That boxer isn't going to know how to defend a takedown. That MMA guy is going to take him down immediately and then armbar him and go home with the boxer's kneecap. I mean, they have no... the greatest example of this was when James Toney, one of the greatest heavyweights of the last 40 years, Lights Out Tony, challenged Randy Couture. They were both around the same age. They were both like 46 years old, so it was fair. And he did so much talking and so much running of his mouth. And then the fight lasted 30 seconds.
Wow.
Randy Couture didn't even hurt him. James Toney tapped out so quick in anticipation of what was about to happen that they stopped it.
He tapped out in fear.
Did you see that fight?
Nuh-uh.
It started Randy Couture. They came out, and Randy didn't bum rush him the way he might somebody else. Randy showed him a little bit of respect. He didn't want to get caught by one of Lights Out's punches because that is the only thing that Lights Out had was a puncher's chance because he's a supreme striker.
Yeah.
But Randy Couture just stayed away from him and then lazily, like they were in a gym practicing, it wasn't even like a fight time move, lazily dropped to one knee and swiped James Toney's legs out from under him with his hand. James Toney fell on his ass immediately, and as he tried to get up, Couture jumped on him and put him in, I believe it was a guillotine, like a real simple, basic 101 jiu-jitsu move. And before he even locked it in, Toney was going, quitting. I mean, it's ridiculous. So I don't like Jim Lampley because he doesn't have any knowledge of MMA, and he just runs his mouth because he's a boxing purist.
Now, to be fair, I can make that exact same argument for dubstep.
What do you mean? Let me hear the dubstep argument.
I get so much crap from people. Oh, it's not music. It's not music. But I would say that the people that say that it's not music are people that don't listen to it. Don't
Okay.
understand
All
it.
right, that's fair. All right,
So-
I'll give you. I don't enjoy it, but I don't understand it, and it just sounds like
Yeah. And I
a
totally
dance
understand
party.
that.
It sounds like a dance party at a construction site.
Yeah.
It's just noise.
I know. And, it's the exact same argument that everybody gives for things that basically take over, for things that they found comfortable.
That's true. You're absolutely true. I
Yeah.
mean, look, I'm at least comfortable in saying that I know that I'm out of touch.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm definitely out of touch in a lot of different things, but,
But
it just happens.
Jim Lampley being so damn arrogant,
Mm-hmm.
like just not giving it any, like not understanding it all. That first of all, here's the other thing about the MMA guy versus we're talking about this, and it's a Friday night, and there's a big Bellator fight by the way too. MTV2 tonight, a really good card on Bellator, which is another fight organization on MTV2 tonight. Here's the problem. People who are out of touch, who don't understand MMA, they still think it's thuggery. Like these guys are just hanging out in the parking lot and they say, hey, come on in and kick each other's ass. They have no respect for what these guys are. Everything that is done in MMA individually is an Olympic sport. Wrestling, if you're a great wrestler, you win a gold medal in it, you're a hero. Judo, you win a gold medal in it in the Olympics, you're a hero. Karate, you win a gold medal in it, you're a hero. Boxing, you win a gold medal in it, you're a hero. But somebody who's world class in all of those disciplines is now a thug.
Yeah.
Even though individually they could compete. George St. Pierre, who is the welterweight champion, has never had any wrestling experience. He's from Canada. He didn't wrestle in high school. He didn't wrestle in college. He became one of the greatest wrestlers, one of the greatest American-style wrestlers in the history of MMA simply by learning it in his career as an MMA fighter. And now George St. Pierre is going to represent Canada in the Olympics for wrestling.
Wow.
These guys are not thugs. These guys spend their entire lives training for this. And it used to be, a karate black belt. Oh, he's disciplined. That guy is I want my son to train karate because it's discipline.
Yeah.
Every single one of these things that these guys in MMA are the exact same thing. These are they don't smoke, they don't drink, and their bodies are their temples. I mean, it's ridiculous. So anyone like Jim Lampley who says that kind of crap just really pisses me off, and it shows how ignorant they are.
Well, you know who I think kind of ruined that ruined the image of MMA from the very start was the guy that did the backyard fights.
Kimbo Slice.
Yes.
Kimbo Slice was extremely important to MMA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not one of these people that was like, oh, Kimbo shouldn't be in there. Kimbo was one of the most famous fighters in the world for YouTube stuff.
Right.
For stuff that he beat people up in his backyard. He was a thug. He had no skills. He beat people up in his backyard, and they filmed it. And everyone who didn't know anything about MMA was like, oh, Kimbo could kick some ass. So Dana White finally said, okay,
Yeah.
let's see. Let's get this badass YouTube guy that every 14-year-old in America thinks has real skill, and let's put him up against a bunch of amateur MMA guys. Not even pro MMA guys, amateur guys. And Kimbo got his ass kicked.
Yeah.
Got his ass kicked every time.
Wow.
I mean, Kimbo couldn't do anything. He couldn't. People were taking him down. They were submitting him. All Kimbo is he's out of shape.
Yeah.
I mean, in the second round, Kimbo's like, he's like exhausted, and the other guy who's across the cage from him is like a chiseled Adonis, and he's like, what is wrong with this guy?
Damn.
Why is this guy so out of shape? Why does he think he can compete with me? I'm a world-class athlete. That's it. At any rate, there you go. So Bellator is on tonight on MTV2. We got a whole bunch of stuff. Friday night is a great night for TV. Jimmy, we got to get out of here. I'm sorry. I know I kept you late again today, and we'll try and keep that to a minimum in the future. All right, so that's about it. All I can tell you, folks, is check out the podcast. It should be up in a couple of hours. Right now, I'd like you to go to the Facebook page. It's The Bar Live on Facebook. Please check that out if you would. Like it. We're trying to build up the numbers there because those numbers are not in step with our YouTube numbers, and I just don't understand it. I don't get why it's so difficult for people who can do one thing won't do the other. All right. And I'll leave you with this. Bill Maher's guest tonight's our journalist Michael Caruso Cabrera.
Oh, that guy's actually really cool.
Why does a dude have two names, and why is it hyphenated? I'm sorry. It's Michelle. I'm an idiot.
Oh.
I'm an idiot.
I was thinking of this guy Michael that has been out. He's been like all over the Middle East lately, so I just assumed it was him, but maybe not.
Journalist Jeremy Scahill is also on Bill Maher tonight. Dan Rather is on Bill Maher tonight, and also Joel Stein. That's not a crazy great lineup tonight.
Yeah, but I get excited when like Neil deGrasse Tyson's on there or something. Like the
wow, look at you.
astrophysicist.
Yeah. Look at you.
Yeah.
Ooh, you're high tone. You still don't know who Donna Summer is, but you know who Neil deGrasse Tyson is.
I'm kind of okay with that, though.
Yeah?
I don't need to know these pop people.
No, you don't. You're probably better off for knowing,
Yeah.
a higher tone category of person. Okay, there we go. So that's about the show. It's hard to wrap up here. Everybody, we'll see you back here.
Can I throw in one more thing?
Yeah, please.
Sunday night, we're going to be starting up Really Bad Radio again. So if you want to watch that, it's going to start at 8 o'clock Sunday night from downtown, and it's going to be on reallybadradio.com.
Where are you guys going to be at?
We are at 3200 Main. We can't have anybody come up this week to come hang out with us, but we're going to be on the roof of Main Street, kind of in the Deep Ellum area.
So, you're not at a bar or anything? You're not at a public place? You're just at a location?
Yeah, we're just going to be on the roof of one of the buildings there.
Okay.
So.
Hope it doesn't rain.
Yeah, I know.
Good luck to you. All right, there you go. It's been a Friday edition of PMS, thebarlive.com.